Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Marina.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not at home, so not living at home.
Okay. If you wanted to move your phone or mic or monitor and whatever you have in front of you so we can see you is all.
You know, it's an iPad, but I have to keep holding it because I don't know where to put it. Let me just see if I can find somewhere. Right.
And Di, sorry, but again, the light has slipped and you're kind of in the dark again, just to let you know.
Story of my life, really.
Well, that's like most of us, really. Oh, boy. Although it is nice to be in the Caribbean today.
It's so I've really missed our shows, Romola. This is going to be a great show. I feel the energy already.
Yeah, I think so. Marina, is there anything special you'd like?
Hello? Hello, sorry, I lost you.
We can hear you.
We can barely hear you, Marina.
Well, I don't know what's the signal seems to be quite low. I don't know why that is.
Oh dear. Okay. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to?
Well, I keep losing you. Let's see if I can move it. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Not really. I mean, I've just, I've been through everything. I've lost my house, lost my business, was made bankrupt all within 9 months.
Oh dear.
And then had my career destroyed by the trustee in bankruptcy.
Similar to Michelle's case, it sounds like, right?
Yeah. Started off with a divorce that didn't go well. And then I ended up losing everything.
Right.
But I'm still here, still fighting.
Lovely to have you on, Marina. Marina, we can't see you now. If you can just look.
Sorry.
There we go. We see you now.
We see you now. Fantastic.
By the way, Marina, it's not your freezing
The other...
out, it's Ramola's freezing out, so just so you know.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's very good now. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And Marina, you've also started your own herbal and home remedies company, right?
Well, no, I haven't. I'm not starting my own company. I used to be a holistic dentist. And so I know about the dangers of mercury and fluoride. And the General Dental Council were only too happy to collude with the trustee in bankruptcy to stop me from practicing. So I haven't practiced for 5 years. And then I came across this remarkable product. I never wanted to get involved in selling anything, but this product is so amazing. It helped a friend of mine who had multiple sclerosis and couldn't walk. And within 4 weeks, she was walking. So I am spreading the word about this amazing product that seems to help with Alzheimer's, dementia, and all other things. And I'm managing to earn a little bit of money out of it as well. But most importantly, I'm helping people, which is what I was put here on this planet to do, I think.
Well, I concur.
If I may just butt in on that point that Marina, is it Marina?
Yes, it is.
You know, it's such a common theme with the victims, like myself. It's like they attack you from so many angles, and one of the main thing you can almost guarantee is you're going to lose your livelihood, regardless of what the dispute is. And one of the things I'm really passionate about, and I won't talk about today, but just in principle, is that how can the people who've been smashed while they're fighting for justice along the way, how can they try and restore their energy and get some dignity in their life and get a chance to carry on? And I think this is something I've been working on a little bit and hope to develop, that whilst the clear criminal activities of organized crime people are being fought, that the victims can somehow find a little support and resources and signposting towards restoration. And so I appreciate what you're doing.
It is hard because when, you know, I had 4 children, my ex-husband's doing all right. I live in a little flat. They can't come visit me because there's not enough room in the flat. I live in the middle of nowhere. And it's very hard, but I'm very tough. I've been through a lot of traumas in my life, and this is just another one. But I feel sorry for the people that can't cope with it and those that become ill, because, you know, undoubtedly stress causes illness, cancer, depression, anxiety, you know, and I feel that I'm lucky. I'm one of the strong ones, but there are a lot of people that aren't, and they either commit suicide or they become ill.
We see them every day, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And that is so wrong, because you feel like you're being kicked when you're down, and it takes a hell of a lot of effort to get up and carry on fighting, or even just carry on living.
I mean, I'll give you a quick example with my nephew who was living in my house. It's a little bit vulnerable chap, but he was locked up on the basis the GP made an allegation against him for shouting at them or something, and he then was taken to court. When he was in the court, they said he assaulted somebody in the court because he walked past them and his shoulder brushed them. Then they took him to the police station. Then from there, they put him in a mental hospital. Then we got a letter from the psychiatrist that, you know, this is all wrong and we should be given assistance. This is from the NHS. So when he came out, we won the case in court that it was all, you know, a make-believe. And when we wrote to the GP to ask for a copy of the allegation and who made the allegation and so on, the GP didn't reply. We followed up, but lo and behold, he was struck off the GP list. And by then he was with a different GP. So the new GP struck him off. And until today, he's got mental health and he don't have a GP. And then all of a sudden, we got a letter from the health service, a survey asking us to give a feedback on the service. And by the way, when he was in the mental hospital, he was accused of rape. And they had a rape trial in the hospital. And when I attended the trial, they had no victim, no evidence, no statement, no prosecution, no bloody nothing. So this is what we're going through every day. And I meet people by the dozen. And, you know, I feel for you.
I feel, like I said, I feel one of the lucky ones. I've got my life back together. I'm quite happy. But I do feel for the people that aren't as strong as some of us are. Some of us are quite strong and we get through it and we carry on fighting. But there's an awful lot of people that don't know what to do. They haven't got anywhere to turn to and they just give up. And it's them and their families that the ones I feel really sorry for.
Well, the saddest part of it is that these people are going to the agencies, the CAB, the GP, the local police, the MP, the IOPC, and none of these agencies are telling these people that all the documentation and court proceedings that they made claims to are absolutely rubbish. Nobody's telling people this. I think I must be the only one. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, but it feels like I'm the only one banging this drum, because every single case we investigate, with no exception, and we've investigated now thoroughly and to a final conclusion, probably over 100 in my case, and for other people, we're talking about 300. And if we put Mr. Ebert in it, he's been doing it 20 years. He has a whole garage full of cases that's proven. And we can't get anybody handcuffed. I can go to prison, but the people we have on video who smashed our house, throw the baby on the street, I go to prison and they're running around with all my assets, my wealth.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, that's what they did to me. They smashed my windows in to get me in, aided and abetted by the police. And the piece of glass hit my daughter on the face.
Why is not in jail the same day, or at least be, the same day be charged?
Now, guys, do you think we should get started? I'll tell you why. Because Di can't
Feel free to
stay
talk
for
about all of
long.
this on the show, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Di, because we need.
Yes.
No, we haven't started.
No, we are not on air as yet. And, we're not going live. I'm going to record, so it'll be as if you're on air. I'm going to live stream it tomorrow, all right? All right, so if everyone's ready, Marina's off camera again. Okay, there we go, Marina. I see you now.
Someone just phoned me. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. All right. So I'll get started. And as I said, I'll introduce somebody to the best of my ability, in kind of speed. And you guys can add in the blanks. All right. So. Welcome, everyone. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world today. And welcome to Romolody Reports. This is our first edition of the Saturday News Panel this year. So Happy New Year to everybody. I guess this is Saturday News Panel number 13. I'm Romolody, and I'm here today with a very illustrious panel, as you can tell. Just looking around, and I'm going to just do a very brief intro and then throw the floor open, and people can, address further aspects of their bio that I may not have covered. First of all, we're going to be talking today about issues related to corruption, bankruptcy, fraud, the impoverishing of women via the courts wrongfully, and various aspects of corruption, actually, that are being whistleblown by certain whistleblowers who, unfortunately, have also come under the gun, some of whom have been wrongfully arrested and jailed. As we know, John Paterson is, one of the whistleblowers that everybody has heard about, who is trying very hard to expose massive corruption to the government and was wrongfully arrested and jailed. Andrew Devine, who is Alternative Media, who runs his own video show, I should say, and who also speaks for issues of sovereignty, is here to address the issue of what John Paterson was striving very hard to expose. Anthony Baudilou, who is a chartered public accountant, is here also to expose court scams, code frauds, fraud in terms of legalese and court documentation, and so forth. Anthony Stansfield is the Police and Crime Commissioner for Thames Valley. He is an elected official. We're very pleased to have him here with us to address issues related both to all of these, larger issues, as well as bankruptcy fraud in Michelle's case and in Marina's case. Michelle Young, as many people may know, is hosting these Saturday night panels with me, and she has been reporting bankruptcy fraud for many years. Her case is very well known. It's a very high value asset case, and she's been deprived of her estates, her property, and her assets, all through bankruptcy fraud. And over the last 7 years, I understand David Seaborn Davies is a former Scotland Yard detective. He was head of royalty protection, and I guess he's still working on these issues, investigating crime and fraud. Marina, sadly, is also reporting similar fraud to Michelle Young. She is a former holistic dentist who is now working to make available and sell various wonderful holistic remedies on the market. Hopefully we'll hear more about that. Personal experience with corruption and fraud, or has assisted somebody through it, or has investigated it. So on that note, I guess that's going to be the topic of our evening. Di, if you wanted to jump in and tell us more about your background and how you're helping to support Michelle, and what Andrew and Anthony Baudilou can discuss with you today. Feel free.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm here really to support Michelle as far as I can in anything that she does. I have done for the last X amount of years. And I and my colleague were the ones responsible for finding the laptops that her late husband actually gave to the daughters. And it was as a consequence of that we were able to expose the huge amount of assets that he had hidden, most of it overseas, aided and abetted by a wide group of equally corrupt men. the problem has been trying to get justice in the British courts. And no matter how she tried, and no matter how many different firms of lawyers, the only thing that appeared to me that anyone was interested was policy and procedure. And that policy and procedure overrode the justice of the case. And it was, I don't know how she's kept sane, frankly. I don't know how I kept sane sometimes, because she was banging her head, and the level of, in brackets, corruption and or misuse of her resources beggars belief, as indeed does the failure of the police to recognize that this was a criminal enterprise by her husband, aided and abetted by as many individuals, many of them well known. They all hid, and at one court cases, these individuals all came to court with barristers, and even the judge said he had never known so many witnesses to come to court with eminent barristers, which speaks volume, I think, for the fact that they didn't want to disclose anything. And indeed, they all hid under legal privilege and very expensive lawyers, whereas Michelle had a complete idiot representing her case. But that's history. I'm just interested in anyone and anybody that can help show that the system is fractured, it isn't fair. You know, my expertise, frankly, has been in mostly other areas. I'm not a fraud expert, but I have tackled crime, tackled the Brunei royal family, and I'll tackle anyone if I think they are corrupt, evil, and that includes police men and women as well. So I don't care who I take on if I think the case is right. And in Michelle's case, I definitely believe she has right on her side. As for the rest of you, I wish you well in your expertise, and I hope you can add something to it. But as I said earlier, in about 5 minutes, I've got to leave you because I am tackling my local police force in a dreadful case where they neglected for months a victim. Thankfully, I've now got them to actually arrest the individual doing it, but it's ongoing. And if we hadn't pushed the way, and if I hadn't been with my background, they would have just dismissed the whole thing. So that's what I am about, supporting Michelle.
Thank you, Di. Andrew and Anthony, would you like to explain to Di what you've actually found regarding the fraudulent documents regarding my bankruptcy?
I mean, I can certainly come in, and because I've got to go at 6 o'clock, so I've only got 20 minutes. I mean, what is extraordinary is the extent of forged documentation that is being used and accepted by courts. And either some of our courts are totally naive, or they're corrupt. You can't get round it where the documentation is so obviously forged. There are now over 500 cases, which together come to probably several billion pounds, sitting with the National Crime Agency, of which Michelle Young's documentation is there too. It's interesting, they've had a lot of this documentation now for about 17 months, and they still are assessing it. And the word assessing seems to be a big excuse for not investigating. I'm pleased that the House of Commons is onto this and is asking a lot of, I think, very difficult questions of the National Crime Agency at the moment. But when we prosecuted the big HBOS fraud case, we only prosecuted a few of the middlemen. A lot of the people responsible were not prosecuted. When you take a case like Michelle's, which I've now taken to the Metropolitan Police again, as Michelle, you've seen my letters involving that. Now,
Yes,
they've got to come and interview you over this and go through it, and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire on this one. It's absolutely disgraceful, and they will investigate the various names that you have given them. And if they don't do it, I hope to get a reply from the next couple of days that they are going to come and properly go into this case. But the standard excuse from the police is, firstly, send it to Action Fraud, which all it is a post office that does absolutely nothing. And the second one is that it's a civil matter. Well, stealing very large sums of money right across the board on the back of forged documentation and false bankruptcies is certainly a criminal matter. It's not a civil matter. I think half the trouble is that the police simply don't have the capacity or the capability in most police forces to investigate a fraud. And we also have, I can't remember the full number, it's something, but it's over 20 regulatory authorities that are meant to deal with fraud. And of course, they all have overlapping responsibilities and they can shuffle fraud around indefinitely. I mean, the main one's the Financial Conduct Authority, which is an absolute disgrace, some of the things that have gone on within it. And they simply do not take on cases. And you get a police force and you will get a police sergeant looking into it. Well, he doesn't have an accountancy degree. He doesn't know anything about it at all. So he will say it's a civil matter, or, I haven't got enough to investigate, and it will get shelved. And this is why less than 2% of fraud is ever looked into, and probably less than 1% is ever brought to justice. And I think when you get a case as large as Michel's, which is vast, and whatever you say about it, where has the money gone? Where have the assets gone? What has been done with them? What has been money laundered? Where's the tax been paid on this? None of these questions are answered. They're hidden. And the same names of accountancy companies and legal practices come up time and time again. And I don't think it's all the banks are involved in this, but quite a lot of the banks are involved in it. Some, I think it's been absolutely systematic. And I think Lloyds and RBS and HBOS and probably Clydesdale were. HSBC caught an enormous cold in America, and their name doesn't come up very often, but you will always get the odd corrupt bank manager within the system. And I haven't, funnily enough, for many other things that they've been up to. Barclays Bank doesn't seem to come up very often. It does in one or two cases. But there are a number of things, I think, coming to a head at the moment. The whole business of the COVID restrictions makes investigating these things very, very difficult. And also, unfortunately, gives a very, very good excuse for people to take a very, very long time. I mean, how's Dame Linda Dobbs now? Her investigation started at the end of the HBOS trial into what went on in 2017. Here we are in 2021, and it's still not finished. And I wrote fairly early on, and I said, you must produce an interim report. This can't just go on to allow the entire board of Lloyds, who are right behind this, to all retire with their many millions and their bonuses. But it is going to go on. And when you have inquiries into it, whether it's Sir Ross Cranston's inquiry or Griggs or something, the facts are that the HBOS trial alone, about 850 million, the police reckon, but we only prosecuted on 245 million. We're now 4 years later, and Lloyds has paid out just over 100 million. Well, what about the other 750 million pounds that hasn't been paid out to victims? It's an ongoing scandal. And of course, Lloyds make a great fuss about HBOS, saying they're looking into it still. But a lot of this is to divert attention to what they themselves were doing out of Bristol, Gresham Street, and out of Leeds, I believe. I mean, I cannot be certain with every case, but there are so many cases, and the same names come up time and time again. The same individuals' names, the same accountancy companies involved, and the same legal practices involved. And it requires a proper inquiry. And it's not going to take 7 or 8 years, but it's going to come up fairly quickly with an interim report, and that criminal action is taken. And they've done this in America, and they've done it in Australia. And in the UK, we've studiously avoided doing anything about it. And it's high time we did. And Michelle Young's case is a very high profile one, because it started off with a very unnatural death of her ex-husband, which again doesn't appear to have been investigated properly. The Met said it was suicide. The coroner refused to return a verdict of suicide. And I hope that will be reinvestigated. But there is so much dirt going on. And when you have the biggest legal practices in the country all defending this, it is extremely difficult to fight the establishment. And I find that when I do fight the establishment, I immediately have complaints put in against me that I'm acting ultra vires, and these go up to my police and crime panel, who immediately uphold the complaints against me. So it's very difficult to actually take on these cases. I'm doing my best, but as I said, I finished my job in May this year. I'm already doing it for a year longer than I was originally expected to do it. But I think we've got enough things moving now to make serious progress. And I hope over this year we will see a lot of these cases recompensed properly and a full inquiry into what has gone on. And the worry is, I spent a lot of my life wandering around the world doing fairly senior jobs, and I expected corruption right across the board in most countries, but I always rather assumed the UK was fairly straight. My worry is just how corrupt I found the city, and a lot of the firms within the city, how corrupt they've been over these fraud cases, not only covering up, but actually perpetrating them themselves. Anyway, I've probably said quite enough, but I hope that the Michel's case is now going to be investigated, or very, very good reasons produce why it's not going to be investigated. And that is what I've asked the Met Police to actually say. If you're not going to investigate, on what grounds are you not investigating? Is it not big enough for you? It runs into billions. I shouldn't have thought it was. Is there not enough evidence for you? If so, we can produce the evidence. So I think progress is being made, but it is really an uphill task, this one, I'm afraid. Thank you.
Anthony, can I jump in quickly and ask you, your fellow commissioners in terms of the City of London and the Met? I understand Mr. Khan is responsible, the mayor, for the Met. Is there any way before you depart your role you could use your influence with either the city or the Met's equivalent?
Well, Mr. Khan is the Met, not the city. Well, I have a meeting on Monday with the city, people involved in this. It is very, very difficult. The city is a very, very small police force, and it simply doesn't have the capacity or the capability to take on major fraud. And because it's right within the system, within the city, and how you get onto the board of it and everything like this. I mean, I'm been absolutely appalled to see who has been on the board of some of these organizations that are meant to be holding the police to account. And the answer is they have no intention of holding the police to account. And actually, I slightly defend the police on this. They simply don't have the capacity to do it. I mean, if you think of what the rate of fraud is running at, I think the National Crime Agency said it was running at something like 190 billion a year. Well, they haven't a clue how much what it's running at. It's probably not as big as that, but it's certainly many, many billion. We're spending, I think, on the City of London spends about 20, 30 million on fraud a year. The serious fraud office is probably another 20, 30. But you add up all the amount of money that's spent in looking into fraud, and it probably only comes to about 70, 80 million. Well, that is taking on something that is many, many billion, tens of billion a year. So it's extraordinarily difficult to do this properly. Half the problem, of course, is that if you actually win a case, and the HBOS case was a classic, it's the only time a bank has really been taken to court over a major fraud. They were eventually fined £45 million, Lloyds, by the Financial Conduct Authority. Not one penny of that went back to Thames Valley Police. It went straight back to the Treasury. And the case cost about £7 million to bring to court. Well, police forces simply don't have that sort of budgets to do this sort of case. So they are extremely reluctant to take on a fraud. And we see this in every single case. And that is why fraud is not investigated. If that 45 million hadn't gone straight to the Treasury, it had paid Thames Valley back for taking it on, then other police forces might actually take on fraud. And if we'd been paid 10 million out of that fine of 45 million, the remaining 35 million could have gone to police forces to take on major cases. And to take on a major case, you have to employ accountants, you have to employ lawyers to look into it. Because, as I said, the police simply don't have the knowledge to take on these cases. Anyway,
but
sorry.
Anthony, let's just keep this very simple, though. How can this be expensive? We've got evidence that the bankruptcy documents are fraudulent. We've got evidence of 4 billion. Why can't we get Mr. David Ingram of Grant Thornton, who's already been under house arrest in Dubai on another insolvency VAT fraud? Why can't we ask Cressida Dick's office to bring Mr. Ingram in with the evidence we can supply in a few documents and ask him where the assets are on the client ledgers and the conveyancing files. I mean, how expensive is that? Because he hasn't got the evidence,
Michelle,
because he's part of the fraud.
That's exactly what I've done.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly
Exactly
Anthony.
what I've done.
Exactly.
Can I jump in, because I realize Anthony has to go in a minute?
Yeah, and so does Di. Listen, I listened with great care and attention to what you all said, well, Anthony particularly, and I wish you well. I'd be very interested to see what reply, and I'm sure Michelle will let me know, and I will then, in conjunction with both of you, perhaps decide if we can add a little bit of, publicity in an article or something to expose what you're saying. So that's my offer, and I've got to go now. So I wish you all well, and thank you for inviting me on, and I wish you all success in what you're trying to do.
Thank you very much, Di, and you're very welcome to come back if at all you have better time in the future.
No worries. Thank you very much, Ramona. Good luck and Happy New Year to all of you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Take care.
Can I jump in quickly before you go, Anthony? Just what you said here, you said a number of things. I really appreciate this opportunity and all the work you're doing, because I think you differentiated yourself from a lot of people in your profession, that you're acting and you've jailed 6 bankers. I think that will be a lasting memory of what you did, and it sets the bar. Now, the thing is, with all these cases, action fraud, forgery, whatever, the problem is not that. It's violence, because the only purpose that the fake court orders and fake court proceedings serve is for the violent criminals to lie that they have a court authority. But at the end of the day, everything they've stolen from me or Michelle or anybody else, there is violence involved. If you're in your property, they come and physically throw you on the street. Yeah. There is no difficulty about that. We got it on video. So this is the problem. In my case, it's child abuse. I called them out for child abuse. I was served legal proceedings on Christmas Day a couple of years ago by the FCA, because I said these people who throw my baby on the street with a heart condition are child abusers. I got document from Pinsent Mason, and they could not follow through because everything I said was correct. They were worried about child sexual abuse, but the thing is, this is violence, Anthony. It's not fraud is softening it's violence, it's theft, and most people have it on video. How difficult is it on the documentation side? We got it in abundance. All the cases we worked on, we got the 100% proof of that it's nothing to do with the court. The court is just being used as a red herring. Now it's theft, physical violence, and terrorism. So how difficult is it to get a handcuff on these people?
It seems to be extremely difficult, I'm afraid. I mean, I have not had a case like that in Thames Valley that I'm aware of. And if there was, I would certainly look into it.
Well, we've had a petition running 5 years. I can't believe you haven't come across it. The petition is called Stop Court Order Scams. And it goes...
I cannot. What you have to realize is PCCs can't... We have no operational control over policing. And it's very difficult for me in Thames Valley to interfere in a case that is with another police force. I can't tell them to do anything. I have no authority over them. So I can't. What I can do is try and ensure that it doesn't happen in my own area. And that I would certainly do. And I don't believe it does. I'm not aware of any cases anyway.
Well, we're in Barnet, and a lot of our clients, I think we come under your area somehow.
Barnet doesn't come into the Thames Valley, I'm afraid.
Oh, I see. But the thing is, a lot of this violence is actually by the police officers themselves. This is the problem. We got them on video. I mean, what more evidence do you need? And all the court procedure, none of it stands. I can solve it. I mean, you spend your department, 7 million or something. a huge budget, and I understand it's very complex, but we can solve a case for 700 because it is so bloody simple. They make a claim to court authority every time, and all you need is the case man record of the court. Ask them for the receipt that they paid a fee to take the claim. Nothing they can prove, nothing, no step of the way they can prove they had a lawful and valid claim. So they're only making the statements and the made up paperwork to justify the theft and violence. So I can't see the problem why the handcuffs don't come out. And I can see the problem where the police won't put the handcuffs on each other. Because every time I see an illegal bailiff, the illegal bailiff with a counterfeit warrant is the one calling the police.
Well, Anthony, why don't we go through why the documents are fraudulent to explain to our audience and Anthony how simple it is to get these people arrested and why the documents are fraudulent and how we can prove it.
It's not easy, Michelle, to get people arrested. I can't make the police arrest anybody. It's well outside my jurisdiction. You know, the police have to have, in their view, a case. Now, if they won't take on a case, it is extremely difficult. But I said, I, on the whole, have not had that problem with my own police force. I hope it's a very good one in Thames Valley, but it seems to go on elsewhere. Now, I've got to, it's 6 o'clock now, and I'm actually talking to somebody else about these cases at a very senior level at 6 o'clock.
Thank you,
so I better leave. But
no worries.
Okay, but thank you very much anyway for listening to me, and I hope
very much
helped a bit. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Anthony, thank you so much. I think your involvement and your participation and your info is really very...
Yeah, thanks.
We really appreciate it.
Thank
you, Anthony.
Okay, well, thanks very much for listening to me. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, just to interject into this, because I tried to make things simple so that everyone can understand. Layman's terms, simple, plain, keep it simple. So on the understanding that we can all understand that if you were sitting in your house and somebody came in, busted and stole your child and robbed all your stuff, yeah, that you know, if that was just a normal Joe Blogg man, yeah, you could phone the police up, yeah, and they would come out and he would get done for a crime. That's a crime that he's actually doing now. That's simple. Everyone can understand that. You can't break into someone's house and steal the children, or that's a crime. Yeah. So now take that same situation now and then say, well, okay then, if you was to catch them halfway through it, yeah, while they were in your house and trying to steal it, and they dropped it and they just stood up and said, oh, okay, and just walked away, should they still be done? If they've been caught out and in straight hands, red-handed, caught red-handed, you know, doing a crime, should they get done? And if the same question, just keeping that into your own thought, now let's put it into a different way. Now, these people, instead of going and breaking into your house and stealing your children and your property, they make up, they get their little friends in the courtroom to make up some documents, yeah? And then they bring you into their house, into their courthouse. And then they serve these pieces of paper on this paper, and this person doesn't understand a damn thing what they're doing. Then they make these little pieces of paper and give it to these police, these bailiffs or whatever, and they go around and they steal your children, or steal your property and everything else, and it's all okay. However, yeah, how about, yeah, then you find out that all these pieces of paper are actually counterfeit. Now you've caught a crime out. No different than catching the man red-handed in your house stealing your stuff. So you've both of these situations, I class them as a crime. Which one should get served anything different? Should one that deliberately breaks in your house and you catch him halfway through it, if he should get done, what should he get done for? You know, it's not me to make a sentence up. I'm not interested. Whatever he should be charged with. What is the difference between doing it physically or doing it through using a court, counterfeiting the documents. What should they get? Because now see, the difference is somebody could be just doing it for money. What are they doing it for? That's premeditated. That's completely, it's no different. It's exactly the same. It's just a different way. Yeah. So if you're now capturing, so that this is it. I mean, I might as well go on and tell you about John now. But at the end of the day, they've got a system there. I mean, because I've been fighting for a long time, right, to get a court, because I know we haven't got a court. I know we haven't got a judicial system. I know the Bar Association work on a code that no fact will ever be heard or tried in a court of law. I know the whole thing's rigged. And I know how they're working it on the difference between the whole scenario, the difference between law and legal, and this confusion and no one can understand it. But the point is, yeah, they've corrupted, or they've taken over a system and it's being used fraudulently. And the only reason it's being used fraudulently is because no one's asking the question or holding them to account or holding them accountable. And they're getting away with it because of the lack of the knowledge that the people didn't know to ask the one simple question, is this genuine? Because it's very simple to find out if it's genuine.
Can I just what Anthony said? I'm sorry he had to go because we were making a lot of progress with him. But if you listen carefully what he said, I don't know this to be happening in my area. He said it on recording, so we got it. Yeah, I don't know this is happening in my area. Now, he said Barnet doesn't come under his area, but I believe Croydon does. You know. Now we have a letter, Ramola. I think we did this letter the last time on your very show. From the court manager in Croydon, explaining and signed on proper letter.
Croydon, yes, yeah.
Yeah, where they tried to send my wife to prison. That all the stuff and the processes, everything is made up, and it is not. She says the papers you receive are not from the court. You can't get it any clearer than that. So I'm gonna take him back up if Croydon comes under his Thames Valley, which I believe it does, and say this is what the court manager says, and see what he does, because you know the work we do, as you know, what we're trying to do, we're finding all the evidence, but after all that, it comes down to tactics, you know, because evidence is not getting us anywhere. So it's the tactics. Imagine if I had a strategy and a tactic where I can get from a court manager in writing that this is all fraud. She didn't use the word fraud. She said they hire the courtroom and do their business. And these case numbers are not issued by the court. Now, to have that in black and white, we should have a number of arrests straight away. So I'm going to take him up back on that. But what we have to try and do here is to separate the document fraud and the court fraud from the violence and theft. Because when you say theft, it's a different resonance in policing and crime. When you say violence, it's somebody, you see, Michelle, you got asset, they want your asset. At some point, they have to physically remove your asset. They have to come in your bank account. They have to come in your house. They have to go to your house and take your horses. There's a physical element there somewhere. And this is what we have. What they do, all they do, they say, we're gonna take your stuff. We're sitting on a raft that keep us safe. This raft is the court order. So what we must do is destroy the court order, which we can do so easily. Then they got no raft to sit on. Case is over. Handcuffs. Yes. Handcuffs. Yes. But we have to pursue the tactics in this way, because the minute we start talking about fraud and corruption and investigation and department and crime agency, they flourish. They could survive till they die like this, and we are suffering under the war of attrition. So this is what I'm saying, the tactics, and I'm glad he said he's not aware it's happening, that it's happening in his area, because all we need now is 1 or 2 cases of it in his area. Thames Valley is a big area. And I go back to him and see if he is a man of his word.
One of the things he was pointing to, however, is that it's so hard to arrest people. It's so hard to, you know.
No, that's rubbish. It's total rubbish. You get an illegal bailiff at your door and you ask him for his warrant and question him 2 minutes, he will get your ass arrested in no time. The illegal bailiff, that you're obstructing a bailiff in the line of his duty. And nobody will question his fake warrant, which
well, you see, he's inside the system, and that, I think, is what Anthony Stansfield was pointing to. There is a system structure, it appears, that seems to have set itself up as in some kind of invincible way, and that appears to be what he's pointing to. When he says it's hard to get people arrested, it seemed to me he was talking about it's hard for police to arrest police. Is that right, Michelle?
I get it, Ramola. But there is a document in circulation. Every year there's a document now published of all the police who've been convicted in the UK. And it's a long-ass document. It's got thousands. Some of them have 10 convictions. So some police got like 10 convictions for rape.
So it does happen, is what you're saying. Police do get arrested.
Like crazy.
People do get convicted.
Yeah,
Okay.
So if it is so easy to put a handcuff on you when you put up a resistance, I stood in my house and said, "What are you all doing here? This is my house." They immediately handcuffed me. So why can't they be handcuffed in the same way when the evidence is 100% there? And just because I published on the internet and made a bit of noise and publicity, many of the police have resigned. The judge resigned. There's so many people resigned just on my case alone. So the point I want to make here is that the real power is not with Anthony Stansfield. He's a great man and he's done, I respect him for the Lloyds Bank thing, but you hear what he's saying, all these difficulties and barriers. The real power is with us, what we do, the public, and that's why I have the petition. I've done some very strong stuff in the petition, and they tried to sue me a few times. Each time they gave up, because everything I'm saying is backed up by hard evidence. Now, why am I a private individual with no resources doing this work? And it's proven we have 30, 40 cases we've actually won, and we can't get anybody handcuffed. We can't even get the cost. I got orders for cost, and I can't get the trustee goes, "We're not paying it." I got BDO trustee. We won the case with cost. They go, "We're not paying you." I mean, come on. So I'm going to take him up on this offer. He said I'm not aware of any case like this in my patch. So we're going to find one quick. I believe the Croydon one comes there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's interesting because I've got 2 Oxfordshire estates that were stolen in Anthony's jurisdiction. They're in Oxfordshire, and the Thames Valley Police wouldn't do a thing about it. And not only that, my friend Paul Millinder wrote to Cressida Dick on the corruption with my case with Grant Thornton and Scott's murder. And as he was writing to them, and he's an actual corporate barrister, but he's on our side, he knows the level of corruption.
Right.
And he's got evidence that they were deleting all the files. They wasn't even reading them. They was deleting everything.
Just to recap on what I've just stated there, this is for the audience as well, really, yeah? To understand the difference. There is no difference. I think you can all agree. Or do you agree with me? I don't see any difference. Or I see there's a difference, obvious difference, but there's no difference in reality. They're being stolen by someone coming in and stealing your property, chucking you out your house and keeping it, or going to a court, acquiring falsified documentation and to trick you into believing it's real, and then going and taking off. It's no difference. So therefore it's the same. There's got to be a same punishment here. Yet the only difference is if they walked into your house without any documents, they'd get done. But if they didn't, they went and got some counterfeit documents, they could come and do it. So why is no one saying, hang on? Because the point is, it's so simple to prove that they're counterfeit documents. We don't need to be paid thousands of pounds to do these investigations. Anthony's done it for you. You can do it. You just simply have to ask the question. You see, what they work out on is that you can't prove a negative. You can't prove something that doesn't exist. Well, the point is, yes, you can by acquiescence. And yes, because they've got to provide you that information, and they can't provide that information. So by acquiescence, they tell you that they haven't got it. So therefore, okay then. Like I said, Sherlock Holmes. When you eliminate all the possibilities, whatever's left, no matter how far-fetched it may seem, is the fact. So when you eliminate the fact that they can't prove the case is real, then the only thing left is it's counterfeit. That's the fact. And it was a counterfeit case. That is fraud. That is a crime. And that needs dealing with, because with that case, it stole all your property. It got John Paterson locked up. These are counterfeit cases. This is a crime. That's the reality of it. That's the shock to realize that, the system can do that. The system's doing it all the time. And the reason it's getting away with it, because nobody's standing up and asking the simple question. Prove it. He who makes the claim has the duty bound now to provide the material evidence to substantiate that claim. You can't, correct. You can't supply it because it didn't exist. It's a counterfeit case. What are you going to do about it? Because that's a crime. Nothing. Because there's not enough people shouting up about it. There's not enough noise. We're not making people aren't standing up and making the noise.
Okay, I wanted to ask also, who do you present that to? You know, Anthony Batalou, and you did a great job with that video. You pointed out that those documents, are counterfeit, that there's no court seal, etc. But who do you present that information to? I understand. I mean, is the police crime commissioner the guy to go to, or is there somebody else? Is there a court authority?
Let me tell you what is going on, Romola.
Mm-hmm.
There was an article in the papers, I can't remember which paper, dating back to 2012, yeah? And I think it was written by Michelle's good friend. And it says that the courts have been infiltrated by criminal gangs. Now, I will come back to this quickly, but I will just jump back to what Andrew was saying earlier. And what's the difference between this crime and the crime that they're making up fraudulent court procedure? Now, I would agree with, and there's no difference, but the thing is, there's a difference in perception. You understand?
Yeah.
I could steal £1,000 from you with taking it from your credit card or abuse your direct debit, and it doesn't look so bad. But if I take £10 from you by grabbing it out your purse, the £10 out grabbing out your purse has 10,000% more higher seriousness in the minds of people and law enforcement. So I think what you were saying, Andrew, is true, but I believe tactically we need to split it. And we need to shut our mouths on code fraud, corruption, fraud, just shut our mouth on it. You had property in Oxfordshire, Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah? One day, somebody trespassed, entered your break your lock, entered and changed the lock and took possession. This is where you focus, because that somebody can never prove they acted lawfully. So your case is not about fancy language and sophisticated. They love the sophisticated language. I was listening to Anthony Stansfield. He was talking about crime agency, assessing, all kind of what I call diluted language.
But they also use that bankruptcy, right? And that's how they take.
So let's forget all this. Let's forget all this. We know we have to do the groundwork. We have to dig deep and do the groundwork and be 100% solid in that part of it, because this is the magic carpet. But when we are fighting, we don't bring it out. We go for the physical part because somewhere along the line, there is a physical theft. Physical. Somebody, a man has to be sent, or a woman, to take something to, you know, assault you, to take your belongings. And that is where, in the terms of law enforcement, we got to focus. We got to deal, I repeat myself, we got to deal with the legal and the documentation side of it 100% and have it rock solid. So they can't come back. That's their magic carpet, but we're going to put that carpet under the table and we're going to focus on the violence, because that is the real crime. It doesn't matter how much court paper you have. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me at all until the day you come and take my stuff. You know, the word warrant, it came about from the word war. When King John was having problems, he kept raiding the people and they were going to burn down his palace or something. So he made a truce and he says, look, I'm giving you, the people, the same rights in my castle. I'm giving you the same rights that you have in your dwelling. So from today, anybody want to throw you out of your dwelling, they have to declare war on you. And that's where the word warrant was invented. What it means is the Queen has declared war on you. So war is a violent thing, isn't it? You're going to kill people. So for them to take your assets or enter your premises or go into your bank account, they need to have a warrant. You stole my money. He says, no, I didn't steal it. I have a warrant. Now you've got his neck in a noose because he's going to have to show you counterfeit paper. But you have to attack it from the violence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say, I think I have kept mine simple.
Right.
The fact that the documents are fraudulent, and because it's such a vast estate, I'm saying to Grant Thornton now,
yeah,
give me the evidence of where those assets have gone. Number one, you should never have been appointed, as you quite rightly said, which you guys can prove. I think if you can work with Di Davis as well on this and show Di the documents, why my documents are fraudulent, Andrew and Anthony, send him an email. Let's see what Di can do, because if we break this one, then it's a domino effect. So if you can show him why my court documents are fraudulent and there's no court fees, and we start that simple route to prove that they should never have been allowed to steal anything because the documents are fraudulent, then I can show all the assets. And then what they do, what Grant Thornton have done on my one, it's not as simple as just going in with a bailiff on one, because there's so many assets. What they've done, they've used those fraudulent documents to steal the estate.
Right.
But I believe David Ingram's already been under house arrest in Dubai under another VAT insolvency fraud.
Similar.
So I believe what he's done here with my estate is use that theft by pen and paper with fraudulent court documents. Then I guarantee there's no VAT being paid on those assets, and the companies, there's no auditing being done. Now that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because if you're going to serve someone fraudulent documents to steal a vast estate, our route is to say, show us, number one, where those assets have gone. These documents are fraudulent, so you should never have been appointed. Now, where's the VAT and where's the auditing on those companies that belong to that estate? I guarantee Grant Thornton are not going to be able to show that information, and their duty would have been to have done that.
I agree with you, Michelle, but this is how I would slightly present it, and slightly different is go to James Ingram. Mr. Ingram, you took my assets, yeah? You took it. So he's not denying it, yeah?
He's saying there are no assets.
Fine. But whatever
He's saying they didn't exist.
Fine. But you took something from me. You were in my life illegally. I'm accusing you. You were in my life and my financial affairs illegally. Yeah? So you owe me, pay me back and go to prison. Okay. So what it is, you're not talking about proceedings and document, nothing. You're talking layman. Now he has to defend himself. He has to say, no, Michelle, I didn't come in your life illegally because I got this. And now you got him because he has to give you a counterfeit item. Can you see? You have to somehow get them on the defensive. It's battle tactics, you know, but we need to have the material already, so they're dead already, but we don't produce it. We don't have to produce nothing. The aggressor has to produce. The aggressor has to prove. So this is the battle tactics that we have to employ. I mean, I just got a case. We just won 350,000 or something on a case similar. And the client has been through so many lawyers. You know that court order I showed on the screen on the Rob Bullock video?
Yes.
That order is a proper order because we got it. We're the claimant. It says on there, this order is not valid without the embossed seal of the court. When they get an order, it does. But the thing is, you have to somehow get them to defend themselves. And they don't have a defense because the only defense they have, they're going to give you the counterfeit. And then once they produce that, they cannot get, but you mustn't produce it. You didn't steal nobody's assets. You're the victim. They must produce the authority. And then, but you must accuse them of theft. You know, my stuff was stolen, I believe. So I want you to give it back. So simple, like 10-year-old language, baby language. Yeah. Because it is simple. You took my stuff. I believe you did not have any right. I would like you to make arrangements to return it. Thank you very much. I'm giving you 7 days to respond. That, you know, that's how I'm working. You know, that 33-page Rob Bullock document, we replied with half a page, and neither him nor the Sunday Times came back. So that means our argument is solid.
Well,
the problem we have, you can't use the court system because the court system's rigged. So you know, you've got to have your defence ready, proving first that the court documents are fraudulent, and because you can't go into their court. I'm sure Anthony and Andrew and Marina, you know this. You can't enforce these court orders. So you say you've won. I've won. I won nearly every application in their rigged system. It's the enforcement. You cannot enforce to get your money back. So I've won. You've won many cases, Anthony and Andrew, but you have not been able to enforce, and nor have I. That's the problem we have. It's the enforcement.
It's a problem we have, and enforcement is, that's why I have the petition running, because we don't have any power, per se. Now, where can we get some power? And some power is, number one, we have technology. When they started this court order scam and the tactics they're using, there was the computer thing wasn't a big thing. They started these things in the 70s, probably before. So we have the computer. The computer record is destroying them. Number two, we have social media. Social media didn't exist. Look at the petition. How many faces and names we're throwing out there, and they're resigning in large numbers. You know, Graham Farrant from the chief of the land registry, Nick Folan, the head of the IOPC, the what's he called, CPS, Judge Greenwood from Harrow Crown Court. I just go through so many. They resigned because of my case. So the social media and the public, either they're going to say you're lying or they're going to hide. They're going to hide from their family. Imagine Judge Greenwood goes home and his wife says, is that what you've been doing all these years? Is it? You've been sending people to jail to steal their house. Is that what you do? You wretched old man. And his children. Do you think he's going to enjoy his retirement? So we're getting back some power like this. No way, we got the petition. Every time somebody signs the petition, it goes to the 7 top people in the government. And we have cases after cases. So there are 2 parts to the enforcement. One is to stop them doing more damage, yeah, which is a huge thing. Like in my case, imagine 100 cases. Nobody is after me for anything now. But if I didn't have some pushback on them, I would have been destroyed completely. Now we have publicity. Now, just imagine, because of social media, Romola, you're here running your own channel. You're not a member of Ofcom. And this is going out to the whole planet.
It will. And, that's the point I also wanted to bring up. Media. You see, what's missing here is media. We've got a defunct or a failed or a corrupt media. We need to build a stronger media mechanism. I think we're all doing a fabulous job, but we need to build a powerful media mechanism that puts the focus on stories like this.
The video you did with me with the Croydon court manager, that video is getting so much attention.
It's getting seen. That's very good. I'm really glad
other media people have seen that video and are contacting me and want to talk about, that or some other things.
We should send that to Anthony Stansfeld, Anthony. That particular
what
video.
What I want to do with Anthony Stansfeld is this. I want to find an existing case that we've already solved. Because he says he's not aware. Yeah? So I want to find an existing case that is in his geographical patch. And I have a feeling, Romola, the video we did with the Croydon court manager comes under his area. And that is, I'll tell you a quick joke. This is, my sense of humor is transferring. But I'll tell you a quick joke. I had another court manager who I was helping somebody else on their case, and he went to file a document and they don't want to take it. Eventually the court manager comes down and he puts her on the phone to me, which I recorded. Yeah, her name is Kate Robinson, and she's a manager of quite a few courts from East London all the way up to West London. And we got talking. She was quite pleasant and professional on the phone, and I recorded it. Did I say that before? Yeah. And she made me a promise. She said, if I gave her the letter, because this guy, George Carter, I started to help him. And in 6 months, they have dropped 8 cases against him. 8 from the CPS. Yeah? 8 cases in 6 months on one person. This guy's been to jail, lost his profession. So this court manager says, if you give me this document that you're talking about, I will take this matter up. He said the same thing like Anthony Stansfeld. I'm not aware of this happening in my court. Well, we said we got 8 confessions that of false prosecution in your court. And we got the letter from another court manager saying exactly how the court is being hired and used. So she said, if you give me this, I will take it up on a national level. So I didn't just want to give her, I want to do it in my own, in a more powerful way with some publication, maybe a video. I want to do a video like this and send her as a request. Publicized, because it's a public matter, and then deliver it and then ask her for action. And just as luck would have it, Romola, listen to this one. Last year I was arrested. I was going to help some chap called Errol in the Crown Court where Julian Assange was.
Oh, wow.
And the police stopped me and arrested me. and said they were doing a terrorism check. And they locked me up, said they had a warrant. I kept me overnight, poisoned me. Yeah. This is the first time I'm saying it to anybody outside my family. Yeah. Took my car, left it somewhere. And I went in the court, the trial the next day, and I managed to outfox them on the warrant. They couldn't produce the warrant. So they let me home. They told me to go home without taking anything off me. Now, that was a court called Thames Magistrate. And then subsequently, I chased the court up where I was originally arrested and went to jail. This court put in writing that I was never prosecuted. So you can't go to a trial without a prosecution. So it's damning evidence. Now listen to the juice here. This same court manager is responsible for the court I was taken in, for that false trial, and she is also responsible for the Willesden Magistrate Court, who told me there is no prosecution. So have we got some juice here? And she promised if I give her this and that, so it's just super.
Wow.
We're getting so much riches now, Ramola. I can't cope. It's too much, but we're coming at fantastic results every day now, every day.
Yeah, it's absolutely astonishing, the whole story. I mean, how could they just arrest you on charges of terrorism without a warrant?
They didn't charge me with terrorism. They said, we're doing a terrorism check. And then they said, oh, there's a warrant here.
That's right. Right. It wasn't a charge, but, it was...
Yeah.
It was all delusional imagining on their part, apparently.
Well, we remember what happened to Carol Woods, don't forget. I mean, Carol Woods was taken with a fraudulent warrant. The court themselves, I mean, I wasn't asking for the actual record and the computer printout or the case number or anything like that, or the fee that was paid. I wasn't asking those questions at the time. I just asked the court the simple question: did you produce this warrant? And they said no. So the warrant was fraud. It was a fraudulent warrant that they actually took her in the first place. The police were told that. But because they took her on a 135 or a 136...
You see, this is a huge issue. I think what's come out of here does need to be publicized. We do need to put it in print. We need to continue speaking about it.
What we're exposing here is they are using the system fraudulently to get rid of whistleblowers. Anybody who tries to report crimes, anyone who tries to expose the system for the corruption that's within it, anyone who exposes anybody that's working within that system, the corrupt people, like what John Paterson was doing, like what Carol Woods was doing. I mean, Carol Woods was exposing the council. Carol Woods was a social worker. She was reporting on child disgusting things, as well as a lot of other things. And it was to do with Lancaster County Council. And Lancaster County Council used the CPS of whichever court it was to fraudulently make a warrant to serve it on their other partners, the police, to go round and put Carol in a mental health ward and poison her because they wanted her out of the way and silenced. And it was all done fraudulently. And then they grafted on the part 2, the section 2, when they took her in the hospital. So they covered up the fraudulent warrant in the first place. And then they would never answer to that, because all they'd do is stick to the 2. And then they went to the section 3, so they only have to go back one stage to the section 2. This is how they was covering it up. The simple fact is, there was never a warrant. It was a fraud. It was a crime from the very beginning. Let's not call it fraud. It was,
what I'm saying,
Andrew, kidnapping.
What I'm saying, take Carol Woods' case. Yeah, we've done the searches on her. There is no bankruptcy, nothing. But you see, they abducted her. They lock her up. So let us take away the fraud aspect. We're talking here now. You capture somebody physically. and incarcerate them, like what we see on the TV that happens in Algeria or Sudan, or we
Right.
associate
It's a kidnapping or an abduction.
because once you take away we know the court proceedings are not valid, but we don't talk about it. That's my say. Just deal with the fact. Carol Woods was, let's use polite language. Carol Woods was, well, I don't know a polite word for it when you capture somebody and physically throw them in a van and lock them away.
Taken against her will.
Taken against her will.
Taken again and kept in confinement.
And poisoned and injected.
Take the poison out. Take the poison out.
Okay.
Because we're going to have a problem of proof. Like me, I was poisoned. I nearly
because they're injecting her.
Force medicated. She was injected, right?
Yes, and she still is being.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But let's just
crime against humanity.
Let's
Atrocity.
just say the element where she was physically grabbed, handcuffed, whatever, and locked up somewhere. Just that little piece of the puzzle. It's a big jigsaw puzzle, but we're gonna play the masterpiece. If we play the whole puzzle, we're gonna get diluted. So somebody has physically taken this person. She's in confinement. I want her released, please. Then they're going to have to, they're forced. It's like playing a game of chess, isn't it? They're forced now to say, we're not releasing her because we had a warrant. Isn't it? We took her lawfully under this or whatever authority.
Yes, they do that.
But nowadays, here is the problem. You are not producing a warrant and say this is fake. They are giving you an item and say, here is the warrant that we took her on. Now they're giving you a counterfeit item. You got to say, you got them now in a trap.
Andrew, did you see there was no warrant in her case?
They also gave a printed copy of what they said was a copy of the warrant.
Now, whatever it is, you go back to them. You say, what makes this a warrant? Can you tell me? Give me a copy of what you applied. Once you've got them in your trap, you're only tightening the screw.
Can I ask you? Sorry to interrupt, Anthony. Look, what we've got to do with all these frauds. Am I right, Anthony and Andrew? That whether it's a bankruptcy fraud, whether it's a mortgage fraud, or it's someone's unlawfully being put in prison who's a whistleblower, am I correct that on these documents, and the same as Marina, who hasn't spoken yet, who we should let have speak in the moment because she's been defrauded the same as us, but am I correct to say that on these documents, there is no court seal, it's a reference number and not even a court number. So it's on a piece of paper where they're unlawfully stealing or unlawfully putting people in prison. Am I correct that these are not proper court documents? They're fraudulent documents.
Well, okay. I get this question a lot about documents. And I don't like to use the word documents. And this is something I learned straight from Mr. Eber. Because you see, you take a document, anyone can make up a document. Yeah? You can make a false one, you can even money, you can make a false 50-pound note. So the document, yes, they can forge, they're not authentic. You can tell, there is ways to tell if they're legit or not. But a document doesn't exist on its own. A document is a part of a chain of events. So that chain of events is the proceedings. So say you have a court order. The court order is the end of the chain. Show me the first link of the chain that you actually made an application to the court.
Yeah.
Show me you paid a court fee to issue the claim. Show me you filed the evidence. Like in your case, Michelle, your personal bankruptcy. They said they had a statutory demand based on that's what they use, a statutory demand. Now, to make a statutory demand, you have to have what they call a liquidated debt. which is a fancy way to say they have a county court judgment against you. Now, in your case, at the time we done a search, there is no county court judgment. They did not have the county court case number on the document on which the liquidated debt was based. So they have a document to say it's a statutory demand. The document itself is a piece of rubbish. However, even if you take the procedure on which such a document could be lawfully obtained, no link in the chain stands up. You got them hook, line, and sinker. But you're not going to talk about this. You ask them, how did you obtain my assets? How did you come in my life? Give me your insurance. He now has to defend. Don't give them nothing. They got to prove themselves. You got nothing to prove because they are the aggressor. And every time they give you something to prove, they're putting their neck in a noose. Because they're gonna tremble. You see, we're talking about power. We don't have the power in terms of the police, but we can exert a lot of leverage through tactics that make their blood curdle. You know, most of the people I'm dealing with now, I can sleep at night and they bloody can't. Yeah, and that is power. We're getting back power. They're resigning. They're resigning and running off. They're leaving their pension. You know, so we have to find ways to get back some power and enforcement, and we're doing it in stages. We're like what the petitioner we're running is for them to have a public inquiry. We have all the evidences there, but in the meantime, we're gaining back a little bit of leverage. We're stopping them from what they're doing. We're letting them lose their jobs and hide. And the leverage we have is social media. We have community where people like you, because even the media that they control now, we have a little the last video we did, and Andrew and I with Sean Maguire last Saturday, it went to its number 17 in the punk rock chart.
Right.
Wow.
Punk rock. I think it was 70 and 20 in the world global interview.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Just to go back to what you were saying there, Michelle. Yes, would be your answer to that. Yes, but what Anthony's going into is a little bit more depth to explain about exactly what, because what came first, basically. I mean, basically, you're talking about an omelette. If there's an omelette there, where's the broken eggs? Let me see what made it. To prove that that's an omelette. Yeah, otherwise it just could be a bit of rubber. You know, let me see the broken eggs. Let me see what created that omelette. So when you've got this document, first thing is procedure. That's what you follow. And if there's no procedure been followed, and the due process hasn't been shown, but has been shown that it has not been followed, what you've got there is you've proven outright that the document is worthless. It's just a worthless piece of paper. But it's being held up by the police because they're enforcing it.
Right.
That's the difference. However,
so it sounds like.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, Michelle, what you could do in your case, you could just do this questioning, as Anthony and Andrew are suggesting, in paper, in a document, and publicize it as you engage in this procedure of questioning them.
We did it, Ramola. Our case is proven. If you get a chance, you watch the video, because I rushed this video out. I wanted to do it a long time. Do you know what Rob Bullock said to me, Michelle, when we were meeting him at Mr. Ebert's?
Yes.
He says, I really would like to do, Anthony. I would really like to do some YouTube videos like you. That's what Rob Bullock said. I thought, okay, let's see. But I in that video, we showed, we showed Michelle's, some of the documents. It's all proven already. It's only now battle tactics, you understand? Because the people who are supposed to do the enforcement job are not doing it. But one of the things in life, and I'm sure, what's her name? Marina? Marina probably would elaborate on this better than me. One of the things is we have so many different battlefronts. It's not just the financial and the legal.
Yeah.
we're battling to survive. And when you get some leverage back on someone, it gives you some energy, you know. And when you know, I went into court with a solicitor last year. Oh, I sponsored him. I gave him shelter in my house to live, and he studied, and he was making a claim for me, and he took it to his boss, and they ended up charging me and taking me to court for their fees, and they never done the job. And I went into court. We had it out with the judge. They ruled against me, blah, blah, blah. So we're walking out the court. This guy is like my good friend. Yeah, his name is Niccolo Cesaroni, Italian guy. And out of the court, he's running away from me. I'm not running from him. He's ashamed. You understand? And I filmed him. I got a very dirty film. I said some rude things. I didn't put it out, but I might put it out and cut. Some people say, oh, you shouldn't put such a, it shows you in a bad light. But it's reality. You know, the guys.
Passion.
Yeah, you know, but the bottom line is he's running. He's running from me. So I got back some leverage. And any way we can get leverage back, you know, and publicizing and put their names, when people Google their names, it pops up. You understand? And they got his.
That's right. The power of publicity, the power of reportage. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, they do that. That's exactly what they do with us. I mean, the trolls. They make all these.
Correct. Falsified records, slander and smear ups. Gosh, we've been through the ringer, haven't we?
You'd be there forever and a day trying to take them all down.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'll take one down, and then they just attack me, and I lost my YouTube. That's the second YouTube channel I got. I've got 2 strikes.
Oh no!
They just attack you, and YouTube helps them as far as I'm concerned, because it's all as part of the same.
It's media.
Of course.
They control the media. Now they're controlling the social media.
Yeah.
But the beauty with social media, it gives us access. In the old days, the only way you're going to get publicity is if the Guardian or the Times or one of them put something out. Your friend on the Times said to me, Michelle, he says, how come your videos get so many views? I get more views than this on the Times. And I'm nobody.
Wow. That's pretty brilliant. Well, I think times are changing, and I think people are, tired of lies and deception. I mean, the good people of the world, right? The intellectual, educated people of the world. Everybody's sick of it, and everybody wants to see some truth, and everybody wants to see some change. So, they are flocking to media like us, who are unafraid to just stand up and put the truth out and put the facts out.
Absolutely. Shall we let Marina, would you like to just have 5 minutes to speak about what they did to you, and then maybe we'll go on to the solutions and then speak about the amazing health products. Yes.
Okay. Well, I was a holistic dentist, had a very successful holistic practice. I was one of those dentists that went to dental school and believed everything I was told. Fluoride's good for you, good for the teeth, and mercury amalgam's absolutely fine. My mum's German, and she used to show me magazines and say, well, the German magazines here are saying mercury's dangerous. And I'd say, why would they teach us that at dental school? Because I was so brainwashed. And it took the birth of my fourth child, and I had a very bad car accident and lost a bit of my finger of my right hand, my finger and thumb, got to Addenbrooke's, and everyone said, you'll never work again. And I thought I will. And I did. It took me 7 months to get back to work. I was still right-handed. I had broke loads of bones in my hand, but I got there. And best thing that ever happened to me, because I started to learn alternative medicine, really. I met some amazing dentists when I was off sick. And I think to wake up that we weren't being told the truth about anything. And I started up my own holistic practice. I was married to an orthopedic surgeon, and the marriage broke down. And we went to the divorce courts, and I said, I don't want anything off you, just help provide for the children. I've always paid the mortgage in the house. Let me carry on paying that. And he kept taking me to court over and over again because he found a solicitor who told him to take my dental practice off me. Yet my husband was, at the time, was a consultant orthopedic surgeon. He'd just become a consultant. So he was going to earn lots of money. And we went to court over and over again. And in the end, the judge said to me, it was a female judge, you work 4.5 days a week. She told me that wasn't enough. I should work more. And I said, I've got 4 children at home, and they were aged from 12 down to 2. And I said, you know, I cook them proper meals. I don't have much help at home, so I can't work more. Anyway, what happened was that she decided that I shouldn't get anything off him. I didn't want anything off him originally, but I ended up with court fees of over 50k that I couldn't afford to pay because I didn't have any savings. I was just, you know, looking after myself and the children quite happily. And the long and the short of it is I then got behind paying my tax because I'd paid off the court fees. And then I started to learn all this about income tax. And so I challenged it. I didn't have any choice. I went to the High Court. I challenged my income tax and said, well, I found out that some of the tax is going to fund terrorism. And while I was in the High Court, the judge or the registrar, he was the deputy registrar at the time, shouted at me and told me that if I went down that route, he would bankrupt me immediately. And when I asked for the transcript of the hearing, lo and behold, it wasn't there. There wasn't one. The tape recorder hadn't worked that day. And I kept going back to, I went back to court, and eventually I was allegedly made bankrupt. I wouldn't give them my proper name. I just refused to comply with anything. And when it was published in the Gazette, the bankruptcy, they had my wrong date of birth, completely the wrong date of birth. There wasn't even one, you know, the month, the year, nothing was correct in it. And I was threatened with being taken to court to be imprisoned, but I didn't comply with anything. And that was 5 years ago. And technically I'm still bankrupt, but I didn't have my I didn't have my account frozen, so I still was able to use my bank account. And they assigned a trustee in bankruptcy. I wouldn't comply with him, and so he went behind my back to the General Dental Council when I also got behind paying my mortgage at the dental practice. And this was all because of the court fees for the divorce. And I ended up he ended up conspiring with Lloyds Bank when they took my dental practice one day using a false court order. And I know that they did lots of illegal things, Lloyd, false documents. I even got it into the High Court. The High Court judge there in Chancery, I put an application in. They conveniently misplaced it and then told me it had been dealt with, yet I'd paid a court fee. They also did, I had the same Chancery judge for my house, for the hearing of my house. And we had several hearings, and one particular hearing, he made a judgment, but wouldn't provide a court order, so I couldn't appeal anything. And when I went back, they stole my house, as Anthony says, very violently. They smashed the windows with the police standing there. The police threatened to arrest me. My practice was stolen. This was all within 9 months.
Oh
and then I was very resourceful. When they stole my dental practice, I managed to find another practice where I could rent a room. So I rented a room, but the trustee in bankruptcy, because I wasn't being a good girl, he phoned up the General Dental Council, and I have General Dental Council very kindly sent me a unused bundle which contained his telephone attendance notes, where he is actually saying to them, I mustn't be seen to be doing this. But he told them that I refused to take my records. He'd actually taken them, and I'd got patients who were seeing me to phone him up and ask them for their records. And he kept them and then wanted me to take them back, and I didn't have anywhere to store them, so I couldn't. And I said, I can't take them back. So he colluded with Lloyds Bank and the General Dental Council to have a hearing against me, so that for being a danger to my patients because I didn't look after the patient records. So I ended up losing my career because no one would let me use their rooms. So we're all worried about the General Dental Council. So I lost my career. So all of this was in my 9 months. And I had to go and live with my mother.
What's the name of this trustee and which firm are they from?
His name was Graham Walloff, and he's from Oh, they're based in Peterborough and Huntingdon. Wolof something. I can't remember now because I'm, you know.
I always like to get the names because, like Anthony Stansfield said, they crop up again and again. Carry on.
Yeah, well, he's so you know, I did try and make a complaint against him. Their argument is always, oh well, you're still bankrupt, so you now have no standing in court. I managed to get the Caseman files, and I found that that no one had paid a fee. I wrote to Chelmsford County Court. This was interesting. I wrote to the manager and I said, I see that the court fee hasn't been paid. I think that was with Walker Morris, my house. And she said to me, it would have been paid. She wrote back and said it would have been paid at the time of the application. And I wrote back and said, well, would have is not the same as did. Could you tell me for sure whether a court fee has been paid? Because would have is not the same as did. So she wrote back to me and said, well, they paid, our records don't go back that far. And I said, well, the hearing was, the application was made 3 years ago, and you're telling me that your records only go back 6 years. So why are you telling me that they made the application 3 years before I fell behind with my mortgage payments? Were they psychic? So she wrote back and said, no, they would have paid a fee at the time. And I said, well, I want some proof. And she said to me she couldn't provide me with any evidence. And I said, well, I think that's my answer. I don't think they did pay a court fee. And she refused to answer me. So I know that they haven't paid a court fee because it says so on my Caseman file.
The burden of proof is not on you. The burden of proof is on the trustee to prove. But
she was trying to tell me that they made the application 6 years before. Sorry?
They're claiming this fee from your estate, so they must give you the receipt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, and it was the same with the dental practice. Lloyd's used false documents. The appointment of LPA receivers was fraudulent. You know, there was no deed. All the land registry documents, I can prove they're all fraudulent.
Marina, this is absolutely bombshell. I mean, your case is just like Michelle's. It's major.
Absolutely. And what
absolute atrocity.
They sold the dental because I'd made such a fuss in court. I was lucky that they didn't they didn't undervalue the practice or my house. But it was the same people all involved, Lloyd's and Walker Morris and TLT solicitors. And what Lloyd's did was they actually sold my practice to a group of dentists, give them a mortgage, which they're not allowed to do.
Can I just say, Marina, like, you know, when they said they would have paid the fee.
Yeah.
The simple question would have been, then there would have been a receipt.
She was telling me that all their records were that they only keep their records for 6 years, and I said yes, but this was 3 years ago. So you telling me that they made the application? She said they made the application a long time ago. She said, and I said, are you telling me they were psychic and made the application 3 years before I had problems with my mortgage?
Yeah, this is the beauty.
I actually used the word psychic, and she didn't know what to answer.
Well, this is the beauty. The computer records. The computer never forgets. 100 years. They can't get over that one.
Absolutely. But then you have the problem with the chancery judges. I have a chancery judge who didn't make a court order, and when I went back and queried it, his clerk wrote to me and said, here's the judgment. And I said, no, where is the court order? And she then went on holiday conveniently. When I wrote her again and said, where is the court order? She told me there'd never been a hearing that day. And I said, well, there is, because I've got the judgment that you sent me, plus I've got a transcript of the hearing. And she said, well, it's not in your file. And I can't get the file from Ministry of Justice.
Well, the thing is, if we interpret it a little bit, first of all, I feel for you, but I'm very impressed with your fact, because most people don't do all these things, and the lawyers never do these things 100%. So what you realize here, you're actually getting them to do a lot of panic on your case and telling a lot of lies and trapping themselves up. So even though you might not got back your assets or whatever, you've achieved a massive transfer of power because they're in more panic than you. You understand? And now they're going to see this video. That's why I like to ask the names and faces, because
well, you know, there's TLT Solicitors, Walker Morris. You have the two lovely ladies at Walker Morris, Rebecca Calendar, her name is now, and Louise Power. And they are very, very nasty women. Let's put it like that. Very nasty, and they commit perjury. I've got proof of, you know, them.
Can you imagine how many other people, these scumbags who are in the cloak of authority under the false pretense of lawful authority, can you imagine how many people they're robbing and getting?
Oh, absolutely. But not everybody is as strong as, say, you or I or Michelle. You know, there are people that get incredibly ill and they just give up on life, or they commit suicide. You know,
I think,
and that is the tragedy of it. You know, yeah, I've been hard done by, but actually I'm still here. I'm happy. You know, I'd like to live in a decent house with my dogs and be able to have my children and have a family life. But at the end of the day, I'm still here. And this is five and a half years later, I'm still here. But there's a lot of people whose husbands or their sons or their daughters or their wives commit suicide because of what's done to them.
All kinds of
and that is what is wrong, because the people that are left behind, it's a tragedy for them.
But the thing is, we want you back in work. We want you, because there's a desperate need for holistic doctors, dentists. You know,
but the General Dental Council don't like doing that either. You know.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested in people like you that's doing a fantastic job, because we need you. So
we don't need the Dental Council. I mean, we have to question. We have to question these so-called authorities. Seriously,
yeah,
they have become.
They're not good for you. You're good for
no.
you. Holistic.
Well, you know, it's been 5 years since I've picked up a drill. I'm 60 now. I just, you know, that part of my life is over. But I've got a lot of knowledge that I help people with. I'm very, very lucky. I met some most amazing holistic doctors and dentists in my life, and so I still have a lot of knowledge that I can pass on to people. You know,
Wonderful.
People have no idea how much the teeth and jaws affect your posture, can affect your hearing, your balance, your breathing, your hips, everything. And people have no idea how much your teeth and jaws affect the whole of your body.
Same with, they don't realise how much the mercury affects them either in the fillings.
Absolutely, and that's where I've got this amazing product that you know removes mercury and loads of other toxins.
Beautiful. Yeah,
amazing
on that. Shall I just to recap? Do you reckon I should read out these the process that the questions that was asked to the court managers for John's case, just to show a bit of a process?
Yeah, you want to mention?
Yes,
John,
of course. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean,
practically had
yeah, I know.
Like
we
I'll
do a little run up to who John is, and I mean, I know I've met him when I went over to England. I met him, but I followed him. I was following what he was doing, who he was helping, because I ended up helping him too. Gordon Bowden and 788 790 Finchley Road was one of the first things we was exposing. But basically, John Paterson, he is a whistleblower. He's been given the information because he was a brave enough man to stand up there. He'd got no children. He'd got no next of kin, so he could put himself on that front line. He was prepared to put his life on the line, which he did for everybody. So because he did that, I witnessed it, and I'd watched him for a couple of years before I joined in and joined it. So I'd worked him out whether he was a genuine guy or not, and I could see. So I supported him, and I gave him publicity, because if he was doing that, because when you're blowing the whistle and no one's witnessing you, they can take you out very quickly because no one will miss you. So I shine the light on whistleblower. That was the way I do things for my help, from what I can do from over here. So witnessing John phoned all the agencies. He reported all these crimes, but obviously, as we know, everything gets shelved. Every time he'd fired it, it'd hit a Freemason, which would shelve it, because you can never report the system. And that's what John was actually doing. And I was here to try and bring back correctness back over, because I'm from the UK, because it's going to help the whole world. Once they see the corruption within the system, this is the whole point. So that was what John was doing. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I've seen John, first of all, get put in prison for 3 weeks because the police was, gaslighting him and just basically just trying to get him, shut him up, to silence him. I'd witnessed that. Then I'd witnessed the fact that he'd been caught, kidnapped, abducted, and well, kidnapped. Yeah, let's call it what it is. Outside the Royal Courts of Justice when he was filing his appeal against the Attorney General. That was when he come out of the Royal Courts of Justice in London by 5 policemen from Sussex coming out of their jurisdiction to come and arrest him from London, which the police at the time couldn't believe it. And then they kidnapped him, took him in, gave him a 3-hour interview, which that policeman now doesn't exist, the one that interviewed him, funnily enough. And then they shipped him into a mental health ward and they kept him in there for 9 days before they had to release him again. And then afterwards, John's been also exposing and helping expose what I've been also shining the light on other things, which was John Winnower and other things, documents and facts that need airing and bring into the point. And he was trying to, he'd phoned up the day before to hand in a 100-page document into the Ministry of Defence and to the Navy, because he was a veteran, he was an ex-Navy. And when he got to the Ministry of Defence, before that, he'd popped into Scotland Yard and he'd popped into MI5 to give them, to tell them, as his usual thing, because he'd reported many crimes, especially what Gordon Bowden had exposed about 7887 90 Finchley Road, about the two gravity drop 20 kiloton nuclear missiles that was brought back from South Africa by Dr. David Kelly and David Cameron, and they never came back into England. But that was another story. So anyway, he went into the Ministry of Defence with John Winnower's, all the details that John Winnower had given as well. And when he actually got there, they kidnapped him. The police, that when we phoned up to find out where he was.
Which country was that?
This is in London. Yeah, this is in England.
Okay.
This is in England, yeah. So he'd phoned them up. He'd done all the right things. He's phoned them up. He said, I'd like to deliver a 100-page document along with the flag. And for the questions, but he wanted to create a round table to present the facts, to talk about it. So he was handing the information in because they was not accepting it. So he was personally handing it in. So he phoned them up, he arranged an appointment for them to give them the documents and for them to give him a receipt to say that they'd received the documents. And when he got to the Ministry of Defence, Holborn police, allegedly Holborn police, I don't know who they were really, but Holborn police was meant to have been there and they kidnapped him, they arrested him. Now we phoned up, there was no report of a John Paterson.
Which building was he in when they arrested him?
It was at the Ministry of Defence in London. And he'd presented himself there, he'd told him and he said, just sit there, wait. And while he was waiting, along come the police and removed him. Yeah. So, so then basically they shipped him, they held him in Holborn police station for the night, tried to disappear him with some dirty scruffy people that came in, but he wouldn't go with them and he asked them to produce their identifications, which they then left. Then they shipped him back over, some other, whoever it was, come over, took him in a car, high sped him straight back over to Eastbourne Mental Health Ward unit, where they tried to disappear him the time before, in July the 2nd, this was November the 5th. And put him in there again. And this is when we then found out where he was. And so this was probably about the 6th or 7th, when we'd actually traced to where he was. And we caught him with inside the Eastbourne Mental Health Ward, who they then tried to say that he wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. But I eventually got to speak to him and he left there. He walked out. I think he basically said, because I'm already done in here. So he walked out there. But when he walked out there, he was arrested again. Allegedly arrested. I'll call it kidnapping because that's what it was. And it was taken to Sussex police, yeah. And then in the morning, so that would have been the 8th, and on the morning, on the 9th of November, it was taken before Westminster Magistrates Court. Now this is then when he's then been what they call remanded. So he was then told in that place that there was 4 people that had pressed charges against him. So we then, what we've done now is like we question again the procedures. Has procedures been followed? Is there been some information laid before the court for the proceedings to be issued? Is there a case number? Is there a case management file? So I'll read the first email. I won't share the page. I'll read the first email, the very first one, the one that we sent to Westminster Magistrate Court. So that was Crown Prosecution Service, Claire Forsyth versus John Alexander Paterson. And John's lawyer, or John's barrister, it asked John's barrister for the case number. John's barrister gave him two numbers. The two numbers that he gave him, was T201 90860R and 01 EK 0377419. So I've put in the email to him, telling him the case numbers, to the court manager of Westminster Magistrate Courts. Notice and demand. Dear court manager, I have been informed that information had been laid and a case issued by your court. Take notice, I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court. Demand, provide by return a copy of the information which was laid at the Westminster Magistrates Court to issue the proceedings, along with the proof that I have been served. In case you are unwilling or unable to comply with my demand, provide the reasons. Please provide the reasons. Implied admission by absence of response, notice and demand will be used in evidence. John Alexander Paterson. So their first response to this, that was on the 24th of November. Their first response was, good afternoon. Please be advised this matter is no longer with the Magistrates Court. Please direct your inquiries to the Crown Court. Thank you. Kind regards. So upon that one, we returned them another email back saying, Dear Court Manager, I am most grateful. I'm most grateful for your kind and prompt response on this urgent matter. You have stated, and I quote, please be advised this matter is no longer with the Magistrate Courts. Please direct your inquiries to the Crown Court. Thank you. You did not mention the court case number of which the Crown Court which Crown Court it was transferred to. Please inform me of the above and provide me by return a copy of the Criminal Man Case Management Computer printout. This is not a DSAR. Regards, John Paterson. Then they sent one back. Good morning. Please be advised that the URN 01 EK 0377419 has been sent to Wood Green Crown Court, which, had you attended, you would have known as it would have been mentioned. The other number, so remember the judge, his barrister had given two numbers. The other number does not refer to anything on our system. Do you have a correct case number, as they do not have letters in them? And as to your request for a copy of the case management printout, we do not have those. So on the reply to that one, we sent notice and demand, again to the court manager, addressee only. Dear court manager, in response to my request to verify and validate the proceedings allegedly issued by the court against me, where I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court, you kindly responded where I quote, please be advised the URN number blah blah has been sent to Wood Green Crown Court. Had I attended, I would have been advised. And the other number does not refer to anything on our system. Do you have a correct case number, as they do not have letters in them? And as to your request for a copy of the case printout, we do not have those. Take notice, I am fully aware that the URN is not a case number issued by the court, hence this inquiry. My attendance at your courthouse building, by force or otherwise, is not proof that legitimate proceedings have been issued by the court and served on me. Thanks for clarifying that you do not hold any case number issued by the court in the matter. It is perfectly understandable that there is no case management file if the court never issued any proceedings and there is no case number. So, is there another one there? Yes, and demand. Please confirm what is the court's procedure where my freedom and liberty has been taken on purported proceedings which were never issued by the court and are counterfeit. I sent them that. I had to resend them it again because they failed to respond. I sent them the same email back saying, "Dear court manager, the information below was sent on the 4th of December. This was on the 13th of December, to which you have neither responded or confirmed the reception of this email. Therefore, I'm resending. Please kindly confirm the receipt of this email conveyance and provide myself with a response of the information I require for the solution I require with my freedom and liberty being taken without due process by a counterfeit court case. Kind regards, John Paterson." Then they sent a strange one back. This was then they sent, "Dear sir," and then there's a space, then there's "the case has been," full colon, 2 spaces, 2 lines down below, and it says, "Sent for trial under 51, 1 in brackets and 2 in brackets, B in brackets, of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 to Wood Green Crown Court on the 6th of the 12th, 2019 at 9:30 or such other date, time, place as the Crown Court directs, comma, in custody, full stop. Bail exemptions, full colon, likely to offend, full stop. Reasons for applying, full colon, nature and seriousness of offence, comma, previous record and character, comma, threats of violence persisted over a long period of time, comma, real prospect of custody, full stop, no direction under section 45 of the Youth Justice and Criminal Evidence Act 1999 was made, full stop, no indication given, re VPS, full stop, plea of not guilty or non-indicated, full stop, custody time limit expires on the 7th of May 2020. Bear in mind, he's still in custody.
Why didn't you just share the screen, Andy?
Should I share the screen?
I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit detailed.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm just thinking.
I'll share the screen on the last draft order. So can I share the screen? Let me see if I can share.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I can share the screen. So, yeah, I mean, basically, the next response was just again, if you want, it's over at the Wood Green Crown Court. You know, if you want to make a complaint about how magistrates have done, you know, tell me how you want to complain. Right. So anyway, this is what we sent. This is what we then sent back. And actually, before we got it sent back, we got it taken to the court. We had it taken to the court with the emails that I've just read out as the. I'm just get that over there. Can you see that? Okay.
Yes.
Do you want me to blow it up or anything?
Yeah, maybe blow it up. Yeah.
People will watch this on their phones, you know.
Yeah. So okay then. So is that better? So,
yes, better.
So this was the draft order that we had taken into the court now. So this is the draft order that's gone into the court. So now you see a court stamp with a date inside it. So it's an official stamp of the court. So to Court Manager, Westminster Magistrate Court of Record, draft order, the 6th of the 1st, 2021. Unknown versus John Alexander Paterson. No court case number. And then we've got the CPS number in brackets. Number 1, upon the court's administration affirming in writing and by admission the following. There was never any lay of information issued by Westminster Magistrates Court of Record and served on me to commence proceedings. B, which means that activities at Wood Green Crown Court under case number T201908660R was a nullity, grafted on a purported prosecution at Westminster Magistrate Court of Record, which does not exist. C, and further affirms that all harm suffered from the unlawful detention is the result of human rights violations under the false authority of the court. 2, we require of the court an administrative order declaring the proceedings null and void, and that our position and property be restored forthwith with costs and aggravated damages to be decided at a cost hearing, and that the court at its own discretion, invoke the internal anti-fraud and assurancy policy to protect further due process and procedure breaches by public officials falsely using the authority by the court of the court of record. We make the above statement believing it to be true, being fully aware that should we make any false statement, we will be committing an act of perjury. Any rebuttal, the same. Autograph John Paterson, and attached to the confirmation, which was the emails that I was just reading out earlier. So now we have probably, well, from what I've seen, but definitely the only stamp on any document in this case of John Paterson that's probably the only real court stamp. All the other ones are just little button stamps. They don't have a date inside them, and you can get them anywhere. You can get them even printed on a document. So basically what I'm saying is this is exactly what they're doing. This is how they disappear people. This is how they steal your property. This is how they're stealing your children through counterfeit court cases, which are very, very easily proved, and in the sense as they can't produce the fact that they are a fact. So, you know, this is how they get you, like the barrister that Bullock barrister was putting in that 33-page document. You see how cleverly they word it, and how can you prove a negative? How can you prove something that doesn't exist exists? Well, it doesn't, does it? You don't have to prove it. The burden's on them. It's not on us to prove it. It's them to prove it. They have to prove the fact. They're ones that's making the claim, and then now the duty falls on them to provide the material evidence to substantiate it. And all they've done with their trickery of wording, it's there. I mean, you can see, you can feel it's like there's a gun to their head. They cannot say, okay, it was counterfeit. They will never admit. They won't admit they're wrong. Tyranny. They will lie till the grave. So it doesn't matter. The point is they can't prove the fact that it exists. Now it all comes down to is the enforcement. And that comes with the people. Yeah, sorry.
That's right. That's where we are, isn't it, Andrew? We've got to be able to enforce all this to stop this unlawfulness. You know, and let's you know, that's great work, by the way. I really admire what you're doing for John Paterson, because I made friends with Gordon Bowden, who helped me, and he also went to the police on my case. There was not anything that was done. And, you know, I think John Paterson and Gordon were working together, weren't they? You know, on the same path. Is that right, Andrew?
Yeah, well, I've been working with Gordon for a long time. I even funded Gordon Bowden to get his camera equipment to make up decent quality documentaries, of what he was doing.
Yes.
I'd got banned from phoning the BBC, phoning the police, everyone. I'd gone through the whole lot with John. I was on the bandwagon with him. I was making the phone calls to the BBC, to Ofcom. We found out that, you know, we got Ofcom to admit the fact that, no, they're not a publicly funded organisation as you think they would be. Yeah, no, and actually they're funded by stakeholders, and them stakeholders are from BBC. How'd you work that out? It's the same, isn't it, all the way around? They control all their opposition.
And am I right, Andrew? Because what Gordon actually said to me, I don't know if there's any evidence of this, that a lot of the bankruptcies, and the reason the court's protecting them, because it's all part of the same organisation, and that a lot of the bankruptcies are funding the BBC.
The BBC is absolutely right. I mean, Gordon, just with Gordon going down there on the 1st of March 2015, and the second time when he went with John Paterson and Brian Setchfield on the 1st of March 2016, when he got Kelly Curtis to state, yeah, I will go to the ends of the earth. Remember, just in case, so Kelly Curtis from the BBC, you remember me because I spoke to you on the phone as well. Do you remember? Yeah. What have you done? Oh, what did he say to me? The only time I'm going to speak to you is on a podium in a court. You know, you're not going to get anything from me until you get me in the court, because he felt so confident, yeah, that this will never get to the courts. They know they're so confident in themselves. He had a 7-month holiday paid for him, by the way, as well, by what's his name, Ian Hall, is it? Whoever the top of the BBC was, yeah. They're all it's all one big club, and we're not in it, basically.
But Andrew, if I just come back on what happened here is like the document you showed there, and this is what it is, Michelle. We asked them once, give us the prosecution. They give us a little fudge. The solicitor give us two dummy numbers. We asked the court, give us a prosecution for these numbers. They said, these are not court numbers. Give us a computer record. So we do it a couple of times. So now we know they don't have it. And all the other things, forget it. Forget they're trying to send us to Wood Green. You can't have a Wood Green if Westminster don't exist.
Correct.
So now we drafted our own order. Yeah? Because this is the proper procedure of the court. You don't need a judge to make an order. You can make your own order. Now, the only thing they can come back and do, because once you go to the judge, now the judge has discretion and the judge is on their payroll. So we done the right thing. We asked the court now, grant me this order because of what you told us, not because of what we're telling you, because what you already told us. You don't have a computer record. These are not case numbers. So therefore, Mr. Paterson was never prosecuted. So you make me an order to correct the wrong. Now, this is an order that to be made up by the administration of the court, not the judge. So you don't have to go through an illegal process. Now, this is the problem. They will never make the order. Being if they make the order here, Andrew and I will be national heroes. But the thing is, we're following the right path that nobody will ever tell you. No lawyer or barrister can, because you see the problem, Michelle, when a barrister like Mr. Bullock, if they go down this path, imagine this. You're a bright young student. Your family tell you to go into law. They pay a lot of money. You pass your exam. Then you have to get a pupillage with a law firm to learn the ropes, and they have to put you through. They're doing bent cases all their life. And if you don't fit in and pass, you're never gonna get your practicing certificate. They will boot you out. So now you start practicing, you join a firm, you do a few hundred cases, all bent. Then you learn the rope. You think, wow, this is nice work. I can make a fortune. I'm gonna set up my own business. And the judges are rubber stamping these cost orders all day long. They never earn this money. They're claiming the legal aid. Now, your mother comes to you and says, look, somebody is stealing my home and my pension and my business, and there's a bent order. What's this lawyer going to tell his mother? And we got several clients I got several clients where the kids are lawyers.
Listen
including
to this,
Shida Oraki.
Listen to this.
Mr. Eber, quite a few people. Now your mother comes to you and you look at and you realize it's a fake claim. So you have a choice now. You're going to help your mother. You're going to say, look, this is a fake claim. I'm going to knock it out for you. I'm going to go down to the court. I'm going to order straight away. I want an emergency order. Yeah. But why don't they do it? This is the problem. You go to this issue, you are now opening up the door on all the fake claims you've done yourself. You understand? So the legal profession can never do this. And that's even when I got about 40 cases.
They'll sell the mother down the road. They will let the mother have the house taken off them rather than them.
Right. Imagine I had my lawyer. I told my lawyer when I was in jail and before I went to jail, it's a family friend, yeah? I said, get me a copy of the prosecution. And he emailed me. Oh, you need to prepare for the trial. Get me the prosecution. I keep saying the same thing to him each time. And after the fourth attempt, he said, I can't work on your file anymore because I'm professionally embarrassed. Because he could never get the prosecution. He knows it don't exist. So It took me another 3 years and another arrest. I finally got from the Willesden Magistrates Court, Mr. Badaloo, you've never been prosecuted. So you tell me the lawyer didn't know this while he was milking my family when I was in jail.
Just like your
And I've
barrister
seen
knew yours, yeah.
case after case. I got a friend, a family friend, who is a lawyer specializing in compensation. I said to him, I got so many cases I've won. I just need to claim the money. So he said, send me, you know, I sent him a couple. I'll tell you a joke. One of them with my nephew, they actually say, you can claim money, the CPS, yeah? They drop the case, you say, if you want to claim money now, you write to this address. Can you get any easier than that? I sent it to him last year. We spent Christmas together last year. I sent it to him shortly after. I still haven't heard from him. And it says you can claim money. So they cannot go there. They can, you see the extent Mr. Bullock went to digress away from the fact that there could be nothing in that case that can stand up to scrutiny. He tried to use his sophistry and his intelligence to snake around the you know, if Mr. Ingram can be, if Scott Young can be jailed because he didn't disclose money, why can't Mr. Ingram be jailed for not disclosing whether he paid the court fee or not and the deposit for the bankruptcy?
Exactly. But you know the whole thing with this, Anthony, it's Scott didn't need to disclose the money. I had the irrefutable evidence of all the assets. It's the system is rigged. They saw how much money was involved.
Yep.
So they took me on that merry-go-round for all those years till I ran out of money, and then they unlawfully bankrupt me to steal the estate. And that is it in a nutshell.
On a fraudulent the whole kit caboodle, and the lawyers and everything else. That's right. I don't know. There's a film. It's a real good film, a comedy, like American film, Interstate 60. It's called. And it shows it's like it goes into this one county, and it's all lawyers, like. But it just nails.
It's gonna be funny, right there.
Seriously, honestly, just to watch it, and he goes in. There's another guy that's in the what's it about contracts, and he holds them to the point, like, and he exposed basically and made the whole court admit that they're all in on it. They're all in on it, yeah. So it was letting you know, it was letting you know. So, like I say, John's lawyer, John's barrister, they were the ones that got him locked up because they're all in on it. So they're all complicit.
But this is the thing, Andrew. John's lawyer, we asked him for the case number, and he gave us 2 fake numbers. Do you think he doesn't know they're fake?
He was asked a lot of other questions, yeah. He was asked a lot of other questions. Bear in mind, just listen to this one out, by the way. I forgot to tell you this. John Paterson made me his power of attorney. He told his lawyer, I am his power of attorney, and he is to give me everything that I want. Yeah. I asked his lawyer, for the information on it. Basically, that's what I was asking before going into that. I was just asking the information, and his lawyer said to me, "I don't care whether you're his father," because I told him that he knew I got power of attorney. He'd been told I got power of attorney. He said, "I don't care whether you're his father or his son. I'm not telling you nothing." Right? And also, let me just say this: 2 people that I know, and I was also told, I cannot speak with John. There is no way any contact come between me and John. We can't speak with each other, even though he made me his power of attorney. And I have 2 letters at least that I could produce, where anyone who was passing information on from John to me would face a severe penalty. How'd you work that one out, eh? John's the only person he could never get any proceedings, any help with absolutely whatsoever in the prison. Because it's a complete. And in a counterfeit case, guys, it's a counterfeit. You can make any outcome you want. That's the point. And that's the point.
I mean, it's completely unlawful what they're doing.
Yeah.
Every
and they're all
aspect
in on it. And they're all in on it.
And they're all in on
it.
it.
That's why they can do it.
And you know, look at this. Look what we've all discussed this evening.
They're out now.
And listen, whether you love Trump or you hate him, he's 100% correct. The system is rigged, and the media is fake news. Look what they've just done to President Trump in the US with that election fraud.
Outrageous.
You know, it's no different to what they're doing to us here. This is why the whole judicial system has to be fully exposed, completely reformed, because this cannot carry on. These are serious crimes against humanity.
They absolutely are.
I mean, I've been trying to do my bit to make this world a better place, for a long time. And I've always said it. It'll always be the same. Even when I was over in England and the police came down to try and interrupt me when I was doing the King's Bench Court in the St. James's Park. And the police came up and tried to do me, and I spun it back on them, because John Winnow was like, "We're not here to break any laws, we're here to make them." Yeah, that's it, pure and simple. So I didn't. We was polite as anything. The police came to try and to put a charge on me because I put the flag in the tree and saying I was doing damage. So I spun it back on them and said that I'm going to now get you done because of what you're trying to force on me, because it was fraudulent conveyance of language, which was a different ballgame. But I was me as a man, not as a fiction, and I'm not answer to the fiction. He was trying to make that. So, cut a long story short, whilst I was in this conversation, some other police came and moved them on. These other 4 police stood down. I went and reiterated everything that I've been explaining, what I was doing down that day. They said, "Thank you very much, very well articulated. The floor is yours, take as long as you want." They stood back, watched the case finish, came up, shook my hand, and job done. So I'm not saying all police. The thing is, as I said to the police there, like I said, "Listen, guys, I know, you don't stand a chance, because if you make a noise, you're going to get it worse than what we do. And I'm here trying to awaken the masses, the people, so that they can get together behind any decent policeman or woman that's prepared to stand up and have the backing of the people, because it's only the people. Only the people can do this. We don't look into
Absolutely.
Don't look into anything else. Don't need it. You just need us. We've got it. We are the power. We have to just know what it is that we're asking for, so that we can ask it with confidence. And this, which is why I focused on what Anthony's doing. It's there. It's simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that something is counterfeit. If I came up and gave you a £20 note and it was a counterfeit, you can't do it. I mean, and they've even done it for us, by the way, because I mean, the people that used to give out counterfeit MOTs and insurance documents and things like that, what they did to that, they put it all onto the computer system. So now you can't have a counterfeit, because they've just thrown up your registration number, and they can tell you whether your car's got insurance, whether it's got MOT on it, and all that. They can just phone up on the computer. Well, do you not think they can do the same with your court case?
Exactly. Absolutely.
They provided you the method of catching them out, so that we can't screw this system. So hang on. Rule one, rule equal. Yeah, we're on a level playing field here. What's good?
And I think
propaganda.
Can I just
pointing it out may be key. Go ahead.
Maybe we're going to finish sooner or anything.
Yes, we absolutely have to wrap this up very soon. And we want
share a couple of documents before we go.
Well. Mm-hmm.
Can I share a couple of documents? How do I share my screen? Let me see. Just because they're on my computer, I might as well quickly run through. Okay, this is one document that we worked with the other night about court fees. We made a freedom information request to the Ministry of Justice. Are the proceedings void where prescribed court fees as anchored in law have not been paid and no fee remission granted? And we got a beautiful answer. It's only one word. Are the proceedings void? Yes. There we go. No court
wow, that's brilliant.
Right, okay.
Marina?
Yes, absolutely. They've made my day. You've made my year so far.
There you go. It's on the Freedom of Information site. So I'll show you another document. That is when we won a case, when we're the claimant and we do everything properly, this is the order we get at the end of the process. It says here, copies of this grant are not valid unless they bear the impressed seal of the court. Impressed. This is when we get an order. When the bad guys get an order, it's got no credentials whatsoever.
That's one of them, by the way.
Yeah,
Embossed
he's
seal.
got a court seal.
Yeah.
We can go into
okay.
One of them that leaves a raised imprint.
Mhm.
Yeah. So here is a seal. We can't really see it properly, but you can see it down here.
Enlarge it, Anthony, so you can see it. Enlarge it.
That's
so
the maximum I can go
is it
for
the
this.
biggest it will go, yeah. But you can
Maybe
see
I
the
can
imprint.
enlarge it a bit more, and
In
then
fact, I can show you.
drag it over here.
I can't show you because it's not.
There it
no,
is.
It's white.
So the paper is creased. That's
Yeah.
the court. That's a proper court seal.
Mhm.
So
on your
and then
Hey.
I'll show you one last one and we're done because I'm aware of time. I'll show you one last one. This is the killer. Michelle's seen this already, but Michelle, this is the one that says
Yes.
it is not valid. This order, copies of this grant are not valid unless they bear the impressed seal of the court. Impressed. It creased the paper. Now, this is down here. So when we're the claimant, this is what we get. So now I show the last one. This is a rock and roll. Yeah, look at this one. Ramola, you don't believe this is the Queen's England? Look at this. You can go on the internet and buy this blank document. Blank.
Oh, the whole document's blank. I was looking at complete blankness. I was
No,
wondering.
this
One
one,
second.
this one.
No, you've got to
This
go.
one.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. You need to go back in.
You can go to Westlaw and buy this warrant. It's a document, a blank warrant. You write whatever you like in it.
Oh my gosh.
But look, hang
That's
on. It
kind of
has,
scary.
and look, it has a website here, gov.uk fine court
If
tribunal.
it's sort of do this.
Yeah. Did you miss anything, Michelle?
Yeah, incredible stuff.
I'm showing you the document you can buy of the
You can buy
internet
this
from
document.
Westlaw. Yeah, blank
Uh-huh.
warrant here, blank. This is how they come and take you and take your children and your house and your belongings. Blank here.
How much is the document?
It's about £1.50.
Oh,
Wow.
So,
But-
Anthony, perhaps this is the way that, these private parties,
Not perhaps. This is what they took my house.
this is what they are doing. Yeah. So this is part of the organized crime syndicate
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about.
It
Yeah.
is called a N49 in their language. But guess what? N49 don't exist on Ministry of Justice. But everybody I've met who they've taken their house, they use this document. So now look, it says government. It's got the government website URL there, which this paper doesn't exist in the government thing. And look at the beauty here. Let me see if I can enlarge this some more.
Now, I wonder what Anthony Stansfeld would say about this, because this is a warrant. This should be police property, private affairs. It shouldn't be publicly available to anybody, right?
This means the Queen has declared war on you. That's why they can take your house and take everything, because you're literally, it's a warrant. But look in the middle here, you see the court stamp.
The county court.
No date
Yeah.
on it.
You can buy a blank document of the internet for £2 with a court stamp built in and write whatever you like on this document. This is what is going on in this country.
Oh my God.
We can end the show.
absolutely disgraceful.
We can end the show with that, Ramola.
I know, that's pretty amazing. I mean, absolutely shocking disclosures all around today or to this evening.
Eyes wide
Anthony
shut.
and Andrew.
Eyes wide shut.
And
All in front,
Sabrina.
right in front of your face, mate.
Your home, savings, cars, businesses, and children. You sign the petition, Stop Court Order Scam. And I'm going to change the name of this petition because I want some little buzz in it now. I'm going to change it to Stop Warrant Terror. Because they all coming, they have a warrant and terrorize you, and that this is a fake instrument. So I'm gonna sex up the petition a little bit and stop war on terror. A little bit more impact has more impact.
And you definitely need more publicity, Anthony. This is something that you probably need to keep speaking about, and we need to keep doing shows and writing about this as well.
I spent the last 5 years learning and sharpening, and now we have enough material resource to put it out there. I'm gonna go into a phase. Thank God I met Andrew. He's such a wonder. I was hanging out with Patrick Cullinan, and then he disappeared, and then I found a few people, Nilo, few people I could work with a little bit, but Andy is the man, He's on the ball. So you see, we're getting out 1-2 videos every day now. I used to do 3-4 months.
Fabulous. You're doing more videos together. Great. Brilliant. Send me the links. I was going to say also, Andrew, if you have links to all of those John Paterson documents you were reading out from, send them to me. I'll stick them below this video.
Ramola, I'm going to give you the exclusive when we approach this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When we
Can't wait.
No, because you did the first document from the court manager who said it's all fake.
To continue.
Yeah, no, but the other court manager who said if I give her this document, she's going to take it on a national level. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to present the document, but I want to do a video and a publication with the petition, email all the when we do an update on the petition, we email all the MPs and all the press we have, which is I have about 350 contacts, but we want to increase it. But we do what we can. So I want to do it in a public way and say, this lady offered, I got it on recording when she was talking to me. She said, if you give it to me, I will take it on a national level. So I'm going to take her to her word, but nothing is going to work what we're doing without the publicity. So I'll give you the opportunity because you did the first.
I'd be happy to. Yes, absolutely. I see the need for so much of what we are doing on video to have print coverage. Honestly, we actually need a new staff. We need an actual media outfit to work on all of these projects.
When I do an update, generally I write a press release to go with it. And every press release I've written, nobody has managed to attack it. The FCA sued me from 2 different sets of lawyers on Christmas Day 2 years ago when I said they were involved in a child abusing scam. And the lawyer was Vincent Mason. I beat them out of court. The petition is on a platform called change.org. Listen to this. This is good story, yeah? And people need to know these things. But what I've been going through is fun, Change.org challenged me that they're going to take down the petition. And the petition is on their platform. And I beat them. And it's still up. Okay, they might be suppressing it, but it's up. And every time somebody signs it, every press release we write, it's untouchable because you see, I only write what I can back up. I don't write nothing more. But it's enough. We don't need all this stuff. We only need the something that you can't, you got one point that you can't lose, stick to it. Don't worry with a whole. So listen, we're gonna do that one, but it's been great to have Anthony Stansfield. It's a wonderful thing. Whatever he does or doesn't do, just having his face here and his presence and his promise that if he gets something in his region, believe me, we're going to hold him to it. So I'm done.
Think of it as supporting him or assisting him because he probably doesn't have the documentation. You're helping him.
He said they spent 6 million on the bank. We spent a lot less and we got 40 odd proven cases. So just bring the handcuffs, Anthony Stansfield. Just bring the handcuffs. You don't need nothing more.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is because
a little bit of encouragement direction might yield wonders. You never know, Anton. Okay, let's be positive moving forward. Did we want to actually turn the floor over to Marina, Michelle?
Because Marina,
yes, I think so.
She's rounding us off tonight.
Let's round it off with some because I'm interested in that.
Okay. Let me just tell you the name of the insolvency practitioners involved in my case: Elwell, Watchorn, and Saxton LLP.
Wait. Let me write this.
Oh, is Anthony writing it down? Okay.
I want to. Yeah, I'll be writing everything. Look.
Perfect.
Okay. Elwell.
What's the name?
Elwell, ELWELL.
Mm-hmm. That's who? The solicitors?
Watchorn. No, they're the insolvency practitioners, were the trustee in bankruptcy.
Uh-huh.
Watchorn and Saxton LLP, and they're
That's all one word. Elwell, Watchorn, and Saxtons.
3 words. Yeah.
WATCHHORN and Saxtons. SAXTON.
TON.
When you announce it in public, other people come and say, "Oh, they screwed us as well."
Yeah, and they're in Peterborough.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the practitioner who dealt with me was Graham Walloff.
Right. But by the way, before I forget, Michelle, I got to tell you this. Grant Thornton.
Yes.
Yeah, before I met Mr. Eber, before a few years ago, I had a client called Lennox Bailey that they bankrupted, and I beat them. There's a guy called Joshua Briggs. I beat them without going to court. They couldn't, I just hammered and hammered. And there's a guy called Joshua Briggs, after they finished and we sorted it, he telephoned me 7 o'clock Friday night. He said, "Mr. Badaloo, I just called to say congratulations. I never seen a guy deal with us like that before." Grant
Fantastic.
Lennox
Yeah.
Bailey bankruptcy. But anyway.
Well, there's so many Grant Thornton frauds across the world we've been investigating. They are a major fraud syndicate, or the amount of people they're unlawfully bankrupting.
And the thing is, they're a one-trick pony. It is so easy to take it apart. So, Marina, so Elwell, Watchorn, and Saxton was your trustee, right?
Yeah.
Alleged trustee. And okay, you had any other names?
No, just Graham Walloff, who worked for them.
Carry on where you were.
Okay. What I was going to talk about was about a new product that I was lucky enough to be introduced to in the summer. I've always been interested in holistic medicine and detoxification, because being a holistic dentist, one of the things that I was asked to do a lot was to take out people's amalgams, but take them out, it's very expensive, time consuming, can lead to other problems, and you're not always sure that the patient's going to get better. So I did tell people that, and they did need to go on a detox program, and a lot of the time we were using chlorella, which wasn't suitable for everyone. And in the summer I was asked to try a product by a friend of mine called Clean Slate, and these are just little tasteless, colorless, odorless drops. And I wasn't terribly keen, because since I don't work, I get a small pension from when I did NHS dentistry, but it isn't, a big pension. So I have to be very careful with my money. And I thought, well, I didn't really want to be spending out on anything, because I'm pretty fit and well. But he nagged me enough to have a go. And I listened to lots of YouTube videos about it. And, what I realized, that this product, it doesn't actually cure anything, but what it does is it removes heavy metals, toxins, pesticides, herbicides, glyphosates, all the toxins that we're exposed to from the air, food, water, and vaccines. So
vaccines.
Yeah, because they've got aluminium and mercury in them, as well as loads of other nasty things in them. Yeah, there's so many things. And this also helps with toxins from molds and yeasts and plastic residues, because when you buy furniture, they've all been sprayed with fire retardants.
Right. Carpets and stuff.
Carpets and everything. So we're exposed constantly to, a barrage of toxins. So even if you do eat quite healthily, you're still exposed to toxins from, other sources. Yeah. And so, a lot of people are getting cancer, animals are getting cancer, and skin conditions and gut problems. And so I gave these drops a try. They're called Clean Slate. And I have to say, I'm not terribly in tune with my body, because I am pretty fit and well. But I started to think more clearly. I was sleeping better. I lost weight, because one of the things that people carry extra weight is because that's where the body stores the toxins to keep it away from the organs. So quite often really skinny.
Yeah.
Sorry?
The body wraps the toxins in fat and stores it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it keeps it away from the organs. So, so, you know, when you start taking a product that's starting to detox you, you start, you know, I started to lose some weight without even trying. I felt more energetic because I've got 3 dogs, so I walk them every day. And I started to look at some of the testimonials from people that had been using these drops. And there was a guy there who had terrible psoriasis. He'd had it for 15 years, but it got so bad. I think he lives in Cyprus, and he was told by the doctors the only thing they could do would be to amputate his legs, which is just horrific. But he took these drops, and within 2 months, his psoriasis went. And there's testimonials of people who've given it to their autistic children, and the children have improved. So, but the company don't claim it cures you. It doesn't. What it does is it's getting rid of toxins. And so many illnesses and diseases are caused by us having a toxic environment in our body, and it just comes out in different ways, whether it's an autoimmune disease, neurological disease, infertility, skin problems, cancer. So what this does, just by taking, you start off slowly with a few drops a day, and then eventually you build up to 10 drops twice a day. It just magically seems to get rid of a lot of the toxins. And how it works is it's got, it's a zeolite, but it's got nanoparticles. It's got different size particles in it. And the crystals are called clinoptilolite crystals. And what they do is they're very highly negatively charged, and all toxins are positively charged. And what it does is it tracks all the positively charged toxins. And then what it does is it's trying to get this absolutely right. The toxins are usually positive charged. And so you have hundreds and thousands of these they're like little magnets encased in water molecules, and they just go throughout your body. They even cross the blood-brain barrier. And these little magnets, you know, that you imagine them like little toxin magnets, and they are attracted to the heavy metals, pesticides, and all the other toxins that have a positive charge. And their tiny size means they can go wherever water grows. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier, goes right throughout the body, detoxing the body at a cellular level. And once the toxins get stuck to these little crystals, the magnets, they are captured within like a cage structure, and they're rendered inert, so they can't do any more damage in your body, and they can't break loose. And then they're taken out through mostly the urine and other detox pathways, but mostly it's the urine. But because the nanozeolites are so tiny, the kidneys don't have to filter them. So it's very, very delicate, so you don't actually damage your kidneys. And there are so many YouTube videos of different people who've had amazing results. I have a lady that I did a lot of courses with for raw foods, Deborah, and Deborah had multiple sclerosis, and I sent her a bottle because I know that people are desperate, and they've tried lots and lots of things, and they get to the point and they think, well, I don't want to spend any more money on something new because it probably won't work. So I thought, right, I'm going to send Deborah a bottle. So I sent her a bottle and I said, take this stuff. And she was going through a pretty hard time because I think one of her dogs had died. So I messaged her 2 weeks later and I said, how are you getting on? And she said to me, well, I'm walking upright now. I used to walk at 90 degrees because I was in so much pain. And she needed walking aids, either crutches or walking sticks. And she said, but I'm able to walk upright now, and I sleep better at night. I don't need, she said, I don't need, she was taking some other medication to help her sleep at night. She said, I don't need to take that much medication now. And then the next day she messaged me and said, I've just walked through Tesco's and I didn't wobble at all and didn't have any pain in my legs. I did have a bit of pain in my hips. What is in these magic drops? So then I saw her on Facebook, because she has her own raw food cookery school. And so I'd seen that she'd been out for 1 3/4 hour walk, and I messaged her and I said, Deborah, you've been out for a really long walk. And she said, yes, I haven't done that for years. I was able to walk, because she lives in Gloucester. I was able to walk through the forest without any walking sticks, nothing. And she said, you know, these drops are amazing. And she started doing online courses again. because she's now got the confidence that she can move around the kitchen and do all these live stream courses because she's no longer in pain. This has changed her life within 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And that
sounds amazing.
that is a miracle, you know, but not everybody experiences that. I've got all my children on it. I've got 4 children. My eldest daughter's a personal trainer. She eats very clean food. And she's always suffered from stomach issues ever since she went to Eastern Europe and had food poisoning. And she messaged me and said, I'm running out. Do you think I need to order some more? Because I don't think I've had, you know, a great success with it. And she said, but my anxiety's gone and I don't get any more stomach problems. And I said, well, the only way to find out is stop taking it. And her text back to me was too risky. So even she thinks it works. I give it to my dogs because when your dogs are very close to the ground, they get more toxins than we do because they sleep on the carpets, they sleep on the furniture, they go out on the ground, you know, and they pick up all the pesticides. And there's some great stories about how it's helped animals. I mean, I would never, ever, if anybody had said to me, you'd be endorsing a product, I would have said, no way, because that's not my thing. I don't do that. But having tried this stuff myself, and I sleep so much better, and, you know, I've lost weight, I've got more energy, I think it's amazing. And some of the people that I've recommended who've taken it, there's not one single person that has come back to me and said, I haven't had some benefit.
Marina,
and
it sounds fabulous.
All of them are reordering. And it works by a referral scheme. So everyone thinks it's pyramid selling and it's not, because again, I never want to get involved in that sort of stuff. But they believe in a sharing community. And what they do is, if you sign up with them, you have to have a referral code, which I will give to you. You don't have to actually buy anything yourself. You can get someone else to buy underneath you. You can refer someone, and then you get a 15% commission. There's no minimum spend. You never have to buy anything yourself. You don't have to do a minimum every month. But every time someone that you recommend buys a product, you get a 15% commission. And what they're trying to do is get people to spread it by word of mouth, because it is an amazing product. They're having great success all over Eastern Europe, of all places. They have in Slovenia, people are just going mad over it because they're finding so many health benefits. Helps people with dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, because most of our illnesses and diseases are caused by toxins in the body, blocking metabolic pathways, interfering with enzyme reactions, you know, the endocrine system, the neurological system. So when you start to get rid of the toxins, the body is able to heal itself.
Incredible. I was going to ask, how can people, you know, get access to the product? Do people go to your website? Because I can bet
I don't have a website. What I'm going to do is I'll give you a link. The product is called Clean Slate. They only do two products at the moment. One is Clean Slate, which is the detox drops. And I suggest people try that. I mean, it is just absolutely incredible. And then they have another product called Zero In, which are capsules that you take, and they help. And you take the Clean Slate first for a few weeks, and then if you want to add the Zero In, that helps with brain fog, gives you more energy. It helps with dopamine and serotonin levels. And there are testimonies from people who have given both the products to their friends. And I think there was one recently where a man had given it to his male friend who suffered a lot from anxiety and suicidal tendencies. And within 2 weeks of taking this stuff, no more suicidal thoughts at all. And, you know, anxiety, depression gone. It's incredible.
And actually, Marina, do you remember I've started taking it? And I thought exactly like what you've said during this conversation. Oh, another product. But absolutely. I have to say to our audience, this product is like a miracle. I'm only getting 3 hours sleep because I'm doing so many different projects. But I have to say to you, since I've been taking this product, I'm just, my brain's, I'm thinking clearer. I'm more productive, more positive. And that lack of sleep doesn't even matter anymore. I can just cope with not having that much sleep because I'm doing so many different things with this product. It's absolutely changed my life. And am I right, Marina, that you said it's also anti-aging as well?
Yes, it does. It does help with the anti-aging. It just keeps you more youthful, because our bodies are supposed to sort of, last a lot longer than they actually do. Yeah. Because fluoride interferes with collagen production. And so when people get fluoride, that ages you. I don't think many people realise that. That gives you more wrinkles and ages you, because it interferes with, it gets involved in the collagen.
Does it have? Because it sounds very similar to what MSM, which is sulfur, organic sulfur.
No, it's not. I know what MSM. Yes, I know what MSM is, because I have recommended that to some people in the past. But no, this is because I have a friend who's my dog sitter, and I put her on MSM a long time ago because she has lots of problems with her knees, and I recently got her to try the clean slate, and she does not want to live without that now.
Yeah. No, sounds good. But like I say, the MSM is just organic sulfur, because
that's right. Organic sulfur. It's really important.
It's taken out of the food chain. That's why it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another one as well, actually, because what you're talking about. So I should just give a shout out. Actually, I don't know if you know Mark Grennan. No. Have you ever heard of Genesis 2 Church? Have you ever heard of Jim Humble?
Yes, Jim Humble, of course. Yeah, because he does MMS.
MMS, the Miracle Mineral Supplement. Yeah. Well, in fact. Yeah, so just to give Mark Grennan a shout out, because I've done an interview with him as well, and he's given a shout out. He's in trouble at the moment through the FDA, usual thing, because he said in fact, actually, let me just I'm going to share you his affidavit. It's only a little one-page affidavit, little short thing that is there you go. There we go. So this is his. I think he's in prison now. I think he's been hid out of the way. So this is I, Mark Scott Grennan, being of sound mind and body, under penalty of perjury, state the following to be true. I interviewed over 100 individuals on video who were attending one of our Genesis 2 church seminars, where in 14 countries over the past 10 years. These interviews were recorded, were testimonies of the restoration of their health with our church sacrament. Our church sacraments is called MMS, or sodium chloride. When acidified, produces chlorine dioxide. Chlorine dioxide is commonly used worldwide to purify water, which is what Jim Humble had exposed, because he the malaria. Yeah. To safely drink. I uploaded over 200 health restoration testimonies using our church sacraments to our YouTube channel, MMS Testimonies. We had over 1 million views on this channel before YouTube cancelled our channel. These testimonies can now be found at www.bitshoot.com with the MMS Testimonies channel. This was because Mark Grennan got shut down, usual thing with the the FDA, because that was one of the first things, by the way, was that made me know what I'm now knowing, what I'm doing and why I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I learned about this I learned about MMS about 18 years ago from Dietrich Klinghardt. So I've known, Dietrich Klinghardt is my mentor. Yeah. I don't know if you know Dietrich Klinghardt.
Jim Humble's story is, what a name as well.
Yeah,
perfect,
absolutely.
Because he is such a beautiful guy. He basically found out the use of that stuff. Yeah, he found out because he was on a gold prospecting, and two of his people got malaria, and he was miles from nowhere. And the only thing he could do was giving him 16 drops each of this stuff, and it cured him. And then they did that. I don't know if you know that they did that test with the Red Cross in Uganda.
Yeah, I heard. So I did know a lot about it, but then I went away from MS because I tried it and it just made me feel really ill. That was years and years ago, and then I never came back to it because it actually used to make me heave whenever I had it. But I know it's changed since then. But
Well,
that
no,
was the
it's
first
not,
one.
it's not a nice flavour, is it? I mean, it's not.
No, but it used to make me feel really sick. But this was about 18 years ago when I knew. No, it must have been about 2002 when I first heard about it.
Yeah.
Or round about then, from
the reason
Dietrich
why
Klinghardt.
they called it the Genesis Church, like just because obviously you can't cure, so they created a church of the health and healing, so that they could use it as a sacrament. I mean,
That's right.
I mean, it's done. I know a lot of people, personal people, that it's done a lot of good things.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
do
not
too.
knocking anything. Yours sounds more of a
No.
vehicle for detoxing and everything else.
No, I've got a friend who uses MMS, and he was giving it. He was helping some young lad who had autism, and he was helping him, and it made a difference over a year. But then he added the clean slate in, and it's just things have just like gone, amazing. So there is a place for all these things.
Oh, yeah.
And MMS, I know, is very, very good. It's just that when I tried it years ago, I couldn't stand the taste of it. I know I have been given some more, and it is actually I can cope with it much better now. But I don't think I need it because I've been taking the clean slate, and I seem to have, like my ex-husband once told me, an immune system like a rat. So I'm pretty fortunate.
It sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to give it a try from what Michelle said.
I promise you, Anthony, and Andrew and Romola, I cannot tell you the difference in taking this product within a few days. I've never ever, and I'm one of those people, I've always loved natural remedies. This product is incredible. Sorry?
I have a little bit of allergy, and then my nose gets blocked up when I'm sleeping, and then it disturbs. I have this kind of allergy kind of problem sometimes. So it affects my life, because if your sleep gets disturbed, you feel a bit groggy the next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So has anyone heard of carbon 60? Something.
Yes, carbon 60. Yeah.
Seems like another.
No,
I haven't tried it, but it's
carbon 60, C60. Yeah, it's
you're the one you're talking about. Then people like with mercury fillings and all this, like it's going to do for all those. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
You can, if you it's fine if you have mercury fillings, you can take it. There's certain things I know that when you've got mercury fillings, like you shouldn't take what is it, coriander tincture. I can't remember the proper name of it, because that will draw the mercury out of your fillings, but this doesn't. So because one of the problems is a lot of people think I'll go and get my amalgams removed, and they don't get it done properly, and they end up being sicker than they were if they just left their amalgams alone. Because if you don't get it done by a dentist who absolutely 100% knows what they're doing, you can make yourself incredibly sick. So I would say to people, do not have your amalgams removed unless you find a dentist who knows exactly what they're doing and knows how to do it properly. And it is expensive, it's time consuming, and there's always a risk that you end up with a tooth that might need then to be extracted or crowned or something, so and if you can't afford it and you don't want to go down that route, then take clean slate, because that will just help get rid of the mercury that's in your body.
We'll give it a try.
Honestly, you won't regret it.
What we could do, Marina, maybe we can share the website, all your information with Romola, and then with Andrew and with Anthony as well. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It costs.
We'll share it. Yes.
It costs $69. It's an American product, and at the moment, it's $69, and then there is a $10 shipping charge, and then there's, because we're not in, then there's the tax as well. So it ends up costing you round about, with the exchange rate, about £70. But if you sign up and then get someone underneath you to buy it, then you get a 15% commission, which then sits in your account, and you can use that to buy products in future. Or if you get a couple of people to sign up under you, then you can actually withdraw that money. There's a way of it can be withdrawn.
How long would that portion last?
If you're taking, when you first start, I know someone messaged me and she said she's been taking it, she made a bottle last 2.5 months, but if you get up to the maximum, which is 10, there's 600 drops in a bottle, and if you're taking the maximum, which is 2 lots of 10 drops a day, then that'll last you 30 days, a month.
Wonderful.
And the other thing about it is, once you start cleaning up your body and getting rid of all these toxins, the need for supplements is far less, because your body is able to absorb vitamins and minerals and all the good things much more easily. So your need for supplementation goes down. And I've also seen a testimonial for a guy who was poisoned by his wife with arsenic, and he ended up in ER in America, and he ended up blind and couldn't hear anything, and he couldn't work.
Nice
and
wife.
he was taking yeah, well, she apparently she had a brain tumor and loved him so much she didn't want him to have anyone else, so she started putting arsenic in his food. And then
I
like the logic.
this is actually
Very logical.
there's actually a YouTube there's a YouTube testimonial about this. And so she was giving him arsenic every day in his food, and then I might be wrong, but I think she had an operation and they removed the tumor, and then she had a psychotic episode and gave him a huge amount of arsenic, which normally would have killed someone. And the doctors in ER said, well, she has, you've been accustomed to the arsenic because she'd been giving it to you regularly. But he ended up blind and deaf, and he couldn't work, couldn't go out in the sun, and had to go and live with his mother. And someone gave him one of the precursors to this clean slate, and then he took the clean slate and he restored his sight. He's able to go out and do a full day's work. His hearing is almost back to normal. But this is how magical it is, because you know that there's lots of foods that have arsenic in. Did you know rice has arsenic?
Yes, I heard.
Particularly brown rice. And then one of the foods that has the most glyphosate are chickpeas.
Wow.
Because they use the glyphosate to dry it. So,
they do it with wheat as well, right?
I wonder what gave me. I wonder what they gave me in the police station last year, the 15th of May, 2019. Because I went in there, I was only there one night. This lovely lady, everybody was grumpy, they come peep through the hole. They're all very grumpy. And then this lovely lady, she's quite attractive. She's all smiling, very nice to me. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Blah, blah. I asked her for pen and paper. Then she brought me some of these food that you heat up in the microwave. And it had a little thing peeled back at the corner. And I ate it. And then I came out of there the next day. And I started to feel my stomach going. And then by the time I got home, which about maybe an hour and a half later, I felt like my stomach, like I got food poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, it's food poisoning. I was in prison. I got a police cell. I got bad food. But it comes in a sealed packet. They open it to heat it, you see. And then this food poisoning, normally 24 hours, you're okay. This went on about 3 weeks, on and on.
Wow.
I couldn't get out of bed. And then I went to the doctor. I went literally to a walk-in clinic, and they did a test and blood test and whatever. And they came back and they said they didn't find anything. So whatever happened to me is not on the medical list that they test when you have, because normally they come and they say it's salmonella, or they tell you what it is. So there was nothing on that list. So I believe I had something in there, and I think that woman who was pretending to be nice was devious. She gave me that crap, and whatever it is, it really did knock me out. If they didn't lock me in jail after that day, and I had such a bad illness in the jail, and then they start to give me medicine for that illness, their medicine.
Yes.
God knows, I don't know what could have happened to me, because I was so sick. My wife is a nurse, thank God. But, I'm also very good at nurturing myself
Mhm.
because I grew up in a farm environment where we had a lot of natural stuff. So, you know, I was taking a lot of fluids and salt and diarrhea type of, you know, and rest and not eating too much. And I'm self-employed, so I was privileged. I could stay
Yeah.
in bed. But boy, whatever it was, you know, and maybe I need some restoration because
Well,
until
that
today, I
will.
will tell you this, until today, I haven't fully recovered, you know?
Well, I think this might help you. I'd be surprised if it didn't help you. I honestly can say, hand on my heart, this is the best detox product I have ever come across in my life. And I've never wanted to endorse any product or sell any product. It was never my thing. But this is helping so many people. How can I not share it?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marina. You know, if I guess you could send your information to us in email, right, Michelle?
I will do.
Yes. Yes,
Wonderful.
that would be great.
I can send you some links for some YouTube videos if people want to know about a bit more about it. They do have a whole YouTube channel.
I just got a
That's
brainwave,
terrific.
Marina. It's got a brainwave for this product. You know, all the bent trustees and bailiff and barristers and lawyers, they clearly got something wrong with their moral
Brains
compass.
and morality.
They need detoxing.
Maybe this could restore some kind of humanity that you can't throw babies on the street to get a few dollars. You got enough money, you could already live good. And we could send some by special delivery to Bill Gates.
Yeah, but I don't know if it works on reptilians. I know it works on mammals.
But actually, the last point I'd like to ask you, Marina, would this product be great against the big 5G and the vaccines? Would it help counteract these two huge major things that we are all looking into?
I have been told yes, because a lot of the 5G, you know, that depends on all the nanoparticles they put in you and the heavy metals, because you know the heavy metals are really important to help, you know, with the 5G. So if we get rid of the heavy metals, it doesn't strip out the good metals, because some of the detox things that you take can strip out, because we have to have a certain amount of minerals and metals in our body. But this, you know, it doesn't strip out those, but it does take out the heavy metals, which are the ones that, you know, will work with 5G.
Okay, you know, the one thing you did mention, which kind of made me think, you said it's got nanoparticles in it.
Yeah,
nanoparticles are bad because that's what's in the tests.
Nanoparticles just means nano means the size of them. So it's got different size crystals. So you know it's got nano is a measurement.
Not
it's
nano
you know
not nano
it's and nano is 10 to the power 9 or something.
It's 1/1000th of a meter.
Yeah. So you know, so nanoparticles is actually the size of a particle.
Nanoparticles is the particles they got in the vaccine, where they have the nano chips, isn't it? Nano microchips.
Yeah, but
that's different. So this is, you know, nanotechnology is a huge industry at this point, and there are obviously good applications and bad applications.
Absolutely. So you know, you get when I talk about nanoparticles, what I mean is the size of the crystals. So the crystals are different sizes to take out different sized toxins.
Yeah, I get it.
Excellent.
Sounds fabulous. I definitely am gonna try it, because
I swear to you, I promise you, my children never take anything I tell them, because you know because they're grown up and they think mum's crazy. But this product they all take, and one of them's I'm going to be a grandma, and one of them, she's pregnant, and she's promised me she's going to take it throughout her pregnancy, because what happens when you're pregnant is all your toxins, a lot of your toxins get dumped into the womb and the baby. So I've made her promise that she will take clean slate throughout her pregnancy, which she will do. And although, you know, there's always this disclaimer, you shouldn't take anything throughout your pregnancy unless the doctor prescribes it. But I know that it's going to be the best thing for her and her baby. And I wouldn't put my daughter or my future grandchild's life at risk.
It sounds absolutely marvelous. You know, we probably have to kind of wrap up this show.
Yes.
It's been an incredible evening and rather a marathon show. I just wanted to, you know, throw it out to anybody. If you have last words, this is the moment. You want to share your websites, your information, feel free.
Well, all I'm saying, based on everything went on, we're channelizing a lot of our energy through the petition against the false use of the court with this violent theft, and I believe we're making a lot of progress. If I might hold this up to the screen. The FCA has written to somebody who complained about me. Why am I not on the register? I know you can't read it, but it says here, they put in writing, Mr. Badaloo has never been removed from the register. And it's all over Google that I was removed from. So anyway, they're backing down, and the petition is having a massive impact. Even though the numbers are low, we need some more people to sign up, and Andy's bringing me some new people. So we're just gonna do update. We're gonna put this one on it when you've finished it, when you put it out, Ramola, and we keep our work going and publicizing, and hopefully we leave this world a little bit of a better place than we found it.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Yes. And I'll be happy to post all your links. As also yours, Marina, you know, if there are public links you want to share, you know, send everything. Yeah, I'll post it.
I will do. I'll send a link with the referral code. So if people want to have a look at the product and buy it, I'll also send some links to the YouTube videos so people can have a listen to some of the testimonials, because they are awesome.
Fantastic. And then maybe Romola can put it on the website and we can share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's all about sharing knowledge and sharing, you know, prosperity and everything. It's all about sharing.
Absolutely.
Sharing and caring.
We feel the same. Yes, absolutely. Michelle, Andrew, any last words before we close for tonight?
So,
Andrew, you go first.
I'll finish on Bernard Mannings. Bernard Mannings says, I can give you money. So I can wish you for money. I can wish you for everything else. But at the end of the day, without good health, this is, it all means nothing. So I wish
absolutely.
True words.
Yeah. Most definitely.
And my last words are, if Andrew and Anthony could share with Di Davis those documents showing they're fraudulent, I think we should go down that road, because I think Di's got some people where we might be able to expose it. So I do think it's a good idea to expose that there's no fees paid and they're fraudulent. You've got. Why don't I?
Never started. It can't grow. It can't. You know, it can't be real if it never started.
Exactly. Yeah. But why don't I introduce you and Andrew to Di? And you can.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We'll.
He's a good man.
Yeah, I know.
He's a good man.
No, it's good. Obviously, because there's got to be some good people in there, and it must be so frustrating to them, you know, because they you know, like I say, it's the people power. It's not just remember, you know, those ones that are in there, you know, we know it's rigged, but we need to unrig it. We, the people, are the ones that are going to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to have last word? I forgot to say it also decalcifies your pineal gland.
Oh, then we all definitely need it.
Definitely. And I can send some, you know, and it also charges up all your chakras. So, but the pineal gland, it decalcifies your pineal gland.
All right. You know, I think everybody listening is going to be all over this product after everything you and Michelle have been talking about it. So, you know, that's absolutely stunning. I think everything that you've talked about today has been absolutely powerful. And I think, you know, looking at it from a positive point of view, continuing to challenge these so-called court authorities, putting it in writing, and then doing these videos and getting publicity and, you know, publicizing as much as possible to whatever extent we can.
We're going to be doing some educational stuff, which I've never really done before, just to break down in bite size what we do and how so people can literally copy. We've started one little thing where we got the document where you write off to request the court file and the computer record. We on the internet, we found a way to put a document on the internet, which is a massive breakthrough. So we'll give you the link, Ramola. You just download it, put your case details in, send it. We believe if we get 1,000 people, I think 100 already downloaded it, 1,000 people to send this off to the court, whether they answer or not, or give the wrong, the fact that the people are starting to ask the right question, I think it's going to scare the daylights out of them. They will start to pack, they will have to rethink this crap.
Absolutely.
They absolutely will, and they'll have to stop the fraud or stop permitting
They
the
can't
fraud.
answer, you understand? And just me and Mr. Ebert doing it is just stupid. But if 1,000 people send this document off, and we know they can't comply, they can't produce, they know Ministry of Justice at that level, they're gonna have to. I'm working for this whole. Once you can prove your case was a counterfeit, you must fill in a form and they pay you back like PPI. That's what I'm working for. And this one document, it's 1 page. You fill in your case details, your case number, send it to the court manager by email or poll, whatever. And if we don't care what the answer is, if we get 1,000 people just to ask, we know something is gonna have to we want a public inquiry and PPI type compensation. That's basically it. They can't answer it. It doesn't exist. Blah blah blah. This court's been taken over by criminal gangsters, well documented. So compensate these people, not from the public funds, but from the insurance of the lawyers, barristers, and trustees that are
all
scamming.
They've all indemnified. They're
all
public insured. They're all
that is what we are pushing for.
Well, I do think what you should both do. Why don't I copy you in with Anthony and with Di, or maybe separately? Just let's try Di first. Actually, why not? Let's do the two of them and copy you in, guys, and we can do this all together. What do you think?
Do what together?
The whole petition, my case, and blow the whole thing up.
I'm happy to work with anybody. I've been blessed and lucky. I work with a lot of people, including yourself, and I've considered it an honor to have done some work.
Likewise.
And the thing is, we've been going now enough time. We stood the test of time. We got enough proven cases. We got breakthroughs. We got wins. What we're doing is 100% already tested and proven. It's just a question now to scale it up. We had problem with YouTube, but now we have blockchain. We have the thing called a library that Donald Trump just joined. And we got all our things backed up there. Library allows us more facility. We can offer people documents. All these documents I showed you on the screen. On your case, Michelle, I'm going to put them together in one bundle. It will be available on there. Any journalist, anybody who have an interest in your case, any police can just click a button and there it all is.
That's brilliant.
That's fantastic. And maybe Marina, will you share all your documents too?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yes, it sounds like Anthony should take your case on as well.
We got a channel. We
all the
got a
forged
channel on library.
signatures and everything.
We got a channel on library called Legal Documents in the Public Interest. So we're going to put key things there. And don't forget Michael Obernisha, great guy.
He does a lot of great work.
He's got specific. He's got a website called forgedsignatures.com. So any document you got where you believe they forged the signature, you got I'll show you a quick document here. This signature here, it appears on about 20 companies, different companies, the same signature.
Yeah.
So you can just take a picture on your phone and upload it in there, and the police have got it. The Anthony Stansfield is working on it. Forgedsignatures.com. That's just to upload forged signatures, and hopefully one day all these people using these forged signatures will be brought to book. But yeah, we're doing our bit, and it is getting interesting, and it's we can feel the momentum. We're in the punk rock charts. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, I think you've really made it. Well, you've got to hit the reggae and the soul charts next, right?
Exactly.
So, on that powerful note, I guess we shall take our leave of our listeners and viewers this evening. Thank you all so very much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Marina. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all again very soon. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, strong.
Wonderful.
Lots of
Healthy
love.
and wealthy.
Bye-bye for now. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.